All right. Okay, folks, I'll call to order the March 21st Parks and Rec Commission meeting. It's 6:01. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Berna, roll call, please.
You'll probably have to do 2 roll calls tonight.
Right.
Bob Billick,
Yes, here.
Dan Dukowski,
Here.
Amanda Bowers.
Here.
Bob, maybe we should explain what's going on.
Yeah. Dan is here as alternate tonight because before we can seat the new members, we have to approve the minutes that they were chosen at, so from those meetings. So as soon as we do that, then the new members will come up, we'll do another roll call, and
Meeting will continue.
meeting will continue. Okay? All right. So next is the approval of the agenda. Any additions, deletions to the agenda?
May I make a suggestion that you save that for the new board?
Okay?
Okay,
Do
and
that.
then we move right into to approve the minutes.
Yep.
And then let the new board take care of everything else as far as payables and that.
Okay.
And then that way they jump right into it. Is that all right with you, sir?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. We have the February 15th minutes and the special meeting minutes from March 4th. Anybody, do you guys have any problems with those? I looked through them, I didn't see anything. Are we good with the minutes then?
I went through them. I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
No, I think they looked good. I'll motion to approve the minutes from February 15th and the special meeting on March 4th.
I'll support that.
Support by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we approve the minutes. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Now we can have our,
And welcome to the new members.
yep. Guys, come on up.
Hi, welcome.
No, it does not. Sure, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dan, you'll call me when you get that meeting set up?
What's that? Yeah, I will. It'll be after April 14th,
Okay.
so I'll get that all set up. But in the
It's only
meantime,
2 weeks,
cut the
3 weeks
purchase-
away. Yeah.
Cut the purchase order for the pickleball
Right.
courts, because that is good to go.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Take care. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're well, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Clara, did you talk to Michelle?
Talked to her at the meeting, and I was bringing her the packet for this week, because she had emailed me.
So is she coming tonight?
I haven't talked to her since. She asked if I would bring the packet too.
Okay. All right. All right, we will start now. We'll move back to,
Roll call again?
yeah, doing a roll call.
I'm gonna look and see if she's. on
Kim
her
Duda?
way.
Here. Bob Billick.
Here, still.
That's what I was going to say. Donna Folin,
Here.
Amanda Bowers,
Here.
still.
All right. And for those of you, Kimberly Duda and Donna Folin are our new members. Donna is filling in for Pam tonight. She's the Bruce Township alternate. And Kim is Washington Township regular person. Not that you're irregular, but. Okay, all right. So we get the roll call. Let's go through the agenda. Are you guys okay with the agenda? Anything you think needs to be added, deleted? Anything you'd like to see?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we want a second on that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Second.
Did you?
I can second.
yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay. All right, we did approve the minutes already. Now it's the approval of the accounts payable. You guys gone through those? I get them by email, so I kind of go through them that way. I don't know if you guys do or
Do you
not.
need, anybody need a hard copy of the packet?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I only had one question, and that was, and it's just me getting used to what everything is, but that is the 41,000 that is reimbursement to Parks and Rec. I assume that's,
From Star.
okay, okay, so that's a regular payment we'll see.
Yeah, there, do you want to explain the billing?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. That's their, most of that is their payroll,
Okay,
because I do payroll for both. And then at the end of the month, we bill them back for, because we just run one payroll, and then I bill them back. And then any portion of their benefits or pension gets billed back to them. And if you'd like, I can always provide you with a copy of the bill so you can see that too.
okay, I just wanted general knowledge. of
Yeah,
what it
it's
was
basically they're reimbursing us for money
Okay.
that we spent out of our cash account.
for. All right, perfect, thank you.
And I have
Certainly.
Again, for my knowledge, is on the second page of the report, the credit card purchase for $14,660. I'm assuming that's the payment of the credit card bill.
That is, so our credit card, we have one. Everybody who takes it fills out a form. I am going to be guessing right now, but I know that we purchased trip tickets through that. Do you think that the dance recital?
dance competitions and recital, or competition and recital costumes and dance competition, and then probably the travel.
Probably true, because I know that there were tickets just bought.
Oh.
But we do have an actual breakdown of that, so once we pick, or, vote, and I just see Michelle coming in.
Oh, great.
So, once we pick the positions, the treasurer and the chairman are the signers of that, and we'll have to work out, and all of the details are in the folder with that, so you can tell. But if you're not a signer and you want to see it, we can absolutely email it to you.
Okay, that was
Hi, how are
just
you?
information. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's okay, no, come on up. This is Michelle Dempsey.
Do we have a chair?
Oh,
There's an extra one down there.
well, I hope here, I'll try it out first, so you don't fall. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
These all work,
Uh-oh,
kinda, sorta.
I don't know. Maybe that's not.
There you go.
Almost. On.
I know. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me get you started.
Michelle is our other new member from Washington Township. We're just going through the agenda items. Right now, we're at the approval of the accounts payable. So, questions answered? Ma'am?
I also have just a knowledge question to ask. The charges to D2 Technologies. I'm assuming that there is a maintenance technology agreement. What does it look like, just because the expenses in the last month?
So, and I'm not looking at it right now.
Sure.
I can find it, but can you tell me how much the expense was, just so that?
Well, between the two of them, it was like 2,600, which isn't huge in the scheme of software and stuff like that. I'm just kind of curious about, like, how often?
So, We took them on at the middle of last year.
Yeah.
And it has been pretty consistent with a monthly charge, but there is no set monthly charge. They are doing per hour depending on the jobs that are being done. So I normally meet with them. This has all been pre-work, getting our office all set, but like we also have some history that we had some rewiring completed. We have some new projects that we had talked about that are in the budget, switching to 365 and items like that that we're purchasing, but we do not have a monthly rate. At some point, we hope we get to the point that it's zero.
Okay.
You know, for a month or two, but right now there has been, I would say every month, at least around $2,000. But that is less than the contracts that we were looking at from the other companies that we were going to bring in. So we're still doing okay on
And
that.
they
but-
were the only ones that would do it without a monthly
Right.
contract. And we,
In the past, we normally don't need that much attention. I mean, we do right now just because we're really trying to come to where we need to be as far as computers and connections. And we have 2 sites, so we have to make sure we're real time when we're registering. But in the past, we wouldn't see our computer IT person, right or wrong, for, you know, it could be a month or 2, but we just call them when we need them. So,
Sure. No, that makes,
Answered.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. I had looked back and saw some of the quotes that were obtained for
Yeah.
providing service. But then I was like, are we calling them more frequently?
Yeah.
Whereas,
I
so
mean,
that's good to
we-
know. Thank you.
yeah.
It was perfect, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
And then my only another knowledge-based question is the Verizon bill. Are those all phones or is that internet? What? over a
Those
month?
are all cell phones.
Okay.
So Star, they're really all of Stars.
They're all stars.
Okay,
Because each employee, it's per car. They don't take them home. They use them while they're working, and then they go into the office. Because our MediRoutes, it's called, it's a system that we can see them, where the drivers are and the people are at real time.
thank you.
So, yeah.
That's all I had for that.
anybody else? Good. Can we get a motion to approve the accounts payable?
I'll motion to approve the accounts payable.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded? I did.
Kim did. Legal counsel, how you doing?
I'm well,
Good.
other than a slight cold. Thank you for allowing me to make comments this evening. The only legal report is really, there's been no progress since the last meeting. I had, and I think I communicated to the commission last meeting that I had spoken to counsel for Bruce, and there had been an effort to have a meeting with Ms. Knight as well, but that has not moved at all since her resignation.
Okay.
So that is still on a to-do list with respect to that outstanding lease.
With the Village of Romeo?
Correct.
Okay, okay. Sounds good. Anything else?
Nothing further.
Okay. Community comments. You're up, guys. Anything?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
That's it? All right. No community comments at this time. Director's agenda items.
So, welcome.
You're up.
We're really happy that you're here, and I do have packets for you that you can take home and study. And I feel like at the next meeting, I'm not exactly sure the right time to do it, is to kind of give you a little bit of more of a background of where we're at. But we'll get through today, and then you guys can kind of come up with any questions too, and maybe we'll add that to April's meeting so that if you look through this, or you look through the budget, or we talk about the master plan and you have questions, then that might be a better way to do it than me boring you for an hour on what's happening and what's not happening. So I will give you these at the end. I don't necessarily know you need them right now. It's got different items in here. It's got the interlocal agreement, so you can look that over. It's got the open meetings. Actually, I kind of think I might have emailed you all of this stuff, but now you'll have a nice hard copy too. And then you can use this as you see fit. The new calendar is on here, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that starting next month, our new fiscal year, the meetings will be in Washington Township in the boardroom at 6 PM on the third Thursday of the month.
And it's all booked.
That is all booked, yeah, and we're all set, so. The only thing I can say is I think that there's some construction that we're going to have to work with to get to the township hall, so I myself am going to have to leave early to get down there, so, because it seems like I roll in here about 10 minutes early, and now I gotta go a little further, so we'll just have to keep that in mind. But, so with the welcome, what we would need to do is we are going to vote for the positions. So I don't know if, did anybody get a chance to look at the positions, or should we read through the job descriptions
Could do that.
on them? Let me borrow this for a minute. So, the chairperson, I believe it would remain Bob at this point because he has the most experience, unless someone differently sees different, but we appreciate everything in this entire ride that you've went through, and we look forward to a lot of accomplishments as we go. So basically his definition is he has to do everything. Then the vice chairman. The vice chairman shall perform all duties of the chairperson during his absence. In the absence of both the chairperson and the vice chairperson, at the commission meeting, the commission member shall elect a chairperson pro temp, who would perform those duties. The secretary will be in charge of all of the public records. At this point in the past, the secretary has been the one who has taken the minutes and types them up and sends them and actually gets the agenda together. Whether we keep that, I mean, that is one of the things that we can discuss, because we can have somebody else do it, because it is kind of hard to concentrate on what is happening when you're trying to do everything. Plus, your volunteers, we understand it's a very big job. So that is, we do have somebody, either Berna or prior to this commission being formed, we had used Phyllis Zimmerman, who had been great at taking all the records. So we can make that decision, I think, as we go forward. The treasurer shall present all financial reports quarterly to the commission, writing, including details with the aspects to the investments of the commission. So currently, we do have an investment policy. The treasurer will be working with the commission as well as the accountant to come up with the investments that we need to put in place, and then just keeping track of them as we go forward and possibly looking in different areas if we need to. But the biggest thing right now is that we do actually take some of our general fund and get that invested, at least in a short term, till we have more time to sit down and really look things over. The treasurer also is one of the signers of the checks, as well as the chairperson. How it had worked in the past is that the treasurer would come to our office and sign the checks, but we can do it several different ways. We will have to figure that out, though. Those are the nitty-gritties for the treasurer spot. And then but a chairperson, or not chairperson, but a commission member who would be a trustee. So that is the biggest thing. Now, how we've picked in the past is if by nomination, I believe, and I'm looking at you, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
But yeah, it was nomination. If anybody is dying to be the treasurer, or dying to be the secretary, I think that, please let us know. I did, and I think everybody received the email from Pam Gettert. She is interested in being the vice chair. Again, I will leave this, should I let you?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, well, she would like to be the vice chair. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we vote on it, so I mean, it's, you know, whomever. So I guess, let's put it this way, just to make sure, Dan, since I was the vice chair and I took over when Scott left, does that automatically make me the chair?
Well, it identifies you as the acting chair.
Oh, okay.
I think that it makes sense for the commission to consider appointing
Everybody.
whoever it deems to make sense to be the chairperson to serve in that role. And likewise, for each of the other positions, both the secretary and the treasurer, somebody should make a motion second, and if there's support, that's the way you should proceed. It sounds like you're willing to still serve in that capacity, but that's really up to the commission.
Up to the commission.
To decide.
Okay. Good with that?
I'll make a motion for Bob Beluk to become the commission chairperson.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We got one down.
Down.
Is anybody interested in the vice chair other than Pam?
I think,
Yeah.
Okay. Got a nomination, Pam Getter. Second?
I'll second.
yeah.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got two down. Chair, vice chair, treasurer.
That's the big one.
Well, and remember, with the treasurer position, our commission is pretty much an oversight and making sure things are done according to our bylaws and our procedures. The real work is done by, you know, Berna. And so, you know, it's not as cumbersome as you would think, but, you know, there are things to look over. I know Cindy worked with, or spent a bit of time with the auditors. We go through an annual audit. And, you know, so just to make sure that everything is okay. So that being said, I mean, how in-depth you get with that position just depends on your feeling of how things are going and what you see. So,
You're always welcome to come in and join me.
Right.
Through the chair, so, I mean, you may want to ask if there's anybody in particular who's interested. That might give some of the other commissioners an idea who maybe to make a motion.
Okay. Is anybody interested?
I'd be interested in either position, the secretary or the treasurer.
Okay.
I'd be willing to help in either capacity.
Cool. Who wants it more? No. I'll make a motion that Kim be treasurer. Second?
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we got that one. Secretary. Amanda, you've kind of put your name in the hat there. You want to be secretary?
I'll help if needed.
Okay.
If no one else is interested, I will help.
Again, the secretary's job is, again, and Clara talked about, you know, the agenda and things like that. They work with you, you're kind of more to just make sure it gets done. And, you know, be the liaison, if you will, between the commission and Clara and them to get those types of things. So, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for Amanda Bowers to be secretary.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, So that's that one. That's it, right?
Well, I think we should nominate.
Oh,
Michelle would be the trustee.
oh, okay, okay.
How about we thank you for being the trustee?
All right.
And is that actual the name? It doesn't really say.
Hey, it's
Commissioner,
Commissioner at Large,
Commissioner Extraordinaire, something like that. We'll make a name.
super duper commissioner. Okay,
Perfect.
so that's taken care of. Claire, you moving on to budget amendments?
So in the packet, the budget amendments for Parks and Recreation and for STAR, I thought I would go through them. With FICA, it really just was an underestimate of what I had thought for Parks and Recreation. Then in operations, our office supplies, we were so close. I mean, we still have sometimes, so I'm fairly certain we're going to go over. I should state too, when we have the audit doesn't necessarily or have not made me do amendments line for line. It's normally per department. So like under operations or department operations, as long as the bottom line isn't, but we have for the last couple of years kind of went through anything that went over. So if you had any questions about it, you could ask those or, try to understand or see
Can I
what.
stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Just for clarity, so that everybody understands what we're kind of talking about here. I know we had spent a lot of time in the last couple of meetings going over the 24-25 budget. These items are from the 23-24 budget.
Oh.
So they're budget items that were on the current budget that we're working with that we are looking at having to make adjustments to. So it's not like we're got the 24-25 budget passed and now we're amending it. Okay, so these are from basically last year's, if you will.
You're adjusting based on the actuals.
Yes. You're back.
I'm back. So I just found an error. But under equipment, service, and software, we budgeted 42,000. We're at 61,000. That again comes to the fact that we did the rewiring and some other projects right from the get-go. You'll notice that the $4,000 is the incorrect amount on the right-hand side. I need to bring that up.
19,000.
Yeah. So that, I'm sorry, could you say that one more time?
19,000.
19,000.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to 100% go look at the budget for that. But, and I can do that in a second. But I'll explain all of these as we go through. And the idea is that we're gonna get close to, wow, these are all. So liability insurance, again, it was just underestimated, the amount that we would be spending. Legal and commission,
That's $2,000, not 400?
yeah. Can I ask you a question, Bob, though? Where are you seeing, or you're just saying because you're looking at the amounts and you're making
Yeah.
that? Okay, I'm like, is your sheet different than mine? That's why I was just a little bit confused there. So basically, if the far right
Oh, you're
side,
as of, okay.
if that is incorrect, and it appears that they are, please know that what we'll do is we would just go right over the amount that, so like the 7,000, we're at 6,966. We'll probably be right around 7,500, I would guess, by the end of the season. So the budget or the amended amount would be $1,500 more. But I'm noticing some issues on this side. But for legal and commission, we are currently over. We have used a lot more legal than we had anticipated for that. Sick earned, that is for a few of the part-time staff with the, what is that act called, do you know? Where they'll earn sick time, but it's permanent part-time staff. So if they work a certain amount of hours for a certain amount of weeks.
They have to be average over 25 hours and have worked a certain number of weeks hour for every 36 they work or something.
So this past year, we had more, but we do anticipate that it will not be that much for next year. The part-time Parks and Recreation office staff, we did use more from that line item, but I will tell you, there's a permanent part-time senior office item, and that one we used less money in, so it will cover that amount, but I still put it as an amendment just so that you can see. The next list is the improvement and developments. I will explain how we used to do this. So we had two numbers. We used to just do one number for Washington Romeo Parks, and then we did another number, line item number for Bruce Romeo improvements and development. So this last year, so that we could kind of see the actual cost of each park, instead of having to go back and dig through, we took that main number that I had originally had in the budget, and we just kind of spread it across. So if you look at the actuals, this is more for this upcoming budget, or what's in 24, 25, will mirror this. I mean, they're not going to be the exact numbers, but, so there's no amendment needed here, but I wanted to explain to you why in the budget it looks different than, it all adds up to the budget that was approved, but we just, and it's weird that each one is $39,000, $600. We just did that so that we could see and make the new line items, and there would be nothing budgeted for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Everybody? Okay, and then if you flip the page, we are over in our ball fields. We'll need about $2,000 to cover that. And then again, for maintenance, we did the exact same thing. We split the parks up for maintenance so that we can see those. So that as you go through and you're looking at the financials each month, you can kind of tell where we're at, or maybe where we need to be, if we need to add or take away from that.
Can I go back to ball fields?
Yes.
Your budget was like 400,000 and your actuals are like 170,000. So you're under budget, right? 359,500 is your budget.
So
Your actuals.
I think that
168,160.
should not be there, but I'm going to have to, no, that would be right, yeah, 359 for that. But because the actuals, we did not spend as much in maintenance.
So yes,
Yeah.
so there's no budget amendment.
Right, no budget amendment, correct,
Right.
for the bottom line.
Okay.
I put these here just so that you could, because when you look at the budget and you see that each park is, it was questioned and people were kind of concerned about it, but I wanted to explain to you why we split one number into, say, 12,
Right, so the only thing we're amending is
the 2,000.
benefits
Yeah.
and operations is the 2,000,
Part of maintenance.
okay, so you're amending one of the items. So you're
Yeah.
doing that item by item and not by,
Right,
whole.
except for, and that is one of the things the auditors told us, just to do it for the bottom line. However, the commission in the past has liked to see where each line item is over, even if the bottom line is not over. So,
I mean, I'm sorry, do you need to do that amendment if you've got
Money
almost
to
half of your
cover.
budget there?
no. So, okay.
I'm just offering.
I mean,
Right.
that is, per audits of the past, this just was how, for the last few years, the commission has wanted to see it, so, okay. So then the only amendment with looking at it that way would be under operations.
Yes.
So what will happen with the amendments and the adjustments is that these will need to go to each of the townships and be approved. But my thought process is that the commission should approve them here. I looked in the interlocal. So that you would approve them here, and then we would
Yes.
take them to the township.
Yes.
your actuals are through the end of January?
They are, but some of the things we know, well, yeah. All of the outside we're pretty good with. Well, there's nothing there, so operations, yeah, we could go over. Unless I take it. Well, I'm not sure. Then we would be able to tell.
Wait for the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah, we could, I mean,
Right.
it's not been done, like I've always had to have them by the end of March, but I feel like that might be better because then we can give you the actual amount
I think that would be
instead of coming
the,
back twice.
Yeah, I think that's actually,
for,
should be fairly standard.
The way to do.
Yeah.
And then,
Exactly.
yeah, for, audit purposes, it's a lot easier if you're not dealing with estimated numbers and change
right,
numbers.
and then I'm wrong, and then I have to come back and have, what are the odds I'm wrong as I'm looking at this? But, yeah, okay. Nope, that's good. So do you want me to, I'll just kind of talk about STAR real quick, or do you want me to wait and bring it back when we actually have the final for April?
We might as well hear about it, I think.
All right.
It's a short one.
Yeah, it is. So FICA, we're over, just a small amount. For STAR, we, again, because the accountant and myself are part of their establishment too, or part of our salary is paid from both SMART and Parks and Recreation. It is split up for that. Our department support, that would be office equipment, service repair, liability insurance. Again, it was just an under judgment. Meta Routes is our program. Again, it's the real-time program, so every month we get charged for the amount of runs that we do more than anything else, and we have been extremely busy. Actually, this last year, I'll get you the actual percentage, but we were like 200 times more than we were the year before. So since COVID, we've just been increasing and increasing, so that's a good thing. And that, well, getting back to where we were, because we were at a very steady rate before COVID happened. And then our part-time drivers, who make up the majority of our service for STAR, and our part-time sick are over. The part-time drivers, again, it reflects the amount of rides that are called for. We need more drivers in, so it definitely went over budget there. And then the part-time sick is the same for, that we had just talked about, that they earn the hours. Maintenance and repair, we had some older vehicles. We are in the process of updating those. We actually have a bus that will be coming to us from SMART. They provide all of the buses and vans for STAR. And then our commission purchases the SUVs. So we have 6 SUVs and 6 buses and vans combined. So that's one of the perks that we get for the SMART money that the people pay for, as well as the community credits and municipal credits that help run the operation of STAR. So, and that's it. So then what we will do is once we get the final numbers, we'll come up with the actual amendments, bring them back for approval here, and then send them to the townships. I guess my only question with that is the townships were setting up meetings before the end of March for their amendments. Do you think that we have to have our amendments to them before the end of March?
Well, I don't think your proposed amendments are ready to be approved.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So
Doesn't matter.
once they're ready, the commission can consider approving them. I just have a question. I'm having trouble following your math. Like the part-time drivers, just so I understand, I'm looking at the schedule. It has a budgeted amount and an actual amount, but then it looks like I thought I heard you say that you had a lot more part-time drivers and you look to be asking for an amendment for $30,000. But I can't figure that out because it says actual 212. So are those numbers wrong?
No, the $212,000 is the actual amount that we're at right now. So through January. So our fiscal year ends March 31st.
So
So
it was anticipated.
the anticipation, yeah,
The February and March
right.
will be $30,000.
I just kind of take that and I normally divide, yeah.
Helps clarify.
Okay. Okay, so then I will bring back the amendments for March, April. So going back to my question, again, it doesn't matter. We're going to do them at our next meeting, and then we'll take them.
If we find out that we need to have a special meeting, we could have a special meeting, but I don't foresee it being that critical of an issue
Right,
that,
right. Okay. Just trying to do it all right, so. All right, so our 2024-25 assignments, each year, Plant Moran has set us up in the past that because we do have a general fund, when you have a general fund of any size, or a larger size, you should assign funds just so that there's a general idea of, it can be vague, but they had said just so that we know what is happening. So looking at that, and I'm not, but for Parks and Recreation, the, thank you. For Parks and Recreation, we have the $1,250,000 for future use and development that has been assigned and has been continually assigned for years. And then my suggestion, or there is a possibility that we could assign the $1.5 million that we use for operations from April through December, because those are funds that need to stay in the fund balance no matter what. So it probably would be a good idea if the commission made that assignment or thought about doing that for Parks and Rec. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. Okay, so our whole fund balance is $4 million. It was at the end of our last fiscal year's audit. From that $4 million, 1.25 million of it is kind of set aside. It is saved for the future use and development. So when we start building parks or as we go, we can use that funds, or those funds are going to be set inside there for that. The restricted that you see, the $15,000, that was a donation made by Ann Newby's family. So that is specifically needs to be set for a park, whatever they choose. That when we're building a park, if we're putting it towards a playground or putting it towards a soccer field, that is set there until we spend it for their specific cause. Then the appropriated, these are the other funds that make up that $4 million. So we know that from April through December, we need to have $1.5 million to spend to get us to the point where taxes start coming in and we get our millage money that we can spend. Then you'll see the next two amounts are Gilcher Chrisman Pavilion and the new pickleball project. Those two amounts were set aside because they're above and beyond what we actually have to spend for the year. The millage money that's coming in, that balance, the budget for 24-25, we wouldn't be able to do these projects unless we took that money from the general fund. So those amounts are taken from there. And again, if it's still not making sense to me, let me know and we can.
Is there a capital improvement plan? Is that, which one of these line items is our capital improvement plan?
So the Gilcher Chrisman and the pickleball are part of the capital developments that are in the budget for this year.
We do have a capital improvement plan.
We have a master plan that includes a capital development plan, but no, we do not have. That is one of the things that I think that there needs to be a committee to.
So the 1.25 million for future use and development, that's set aside for capital improvement.
It's for capital improvements, and originally it really is set aside in case the millage didn't go through, so that we could run until we either ask if the people change their mind.
Okay.
Or, you know, or,
Those are like your contingency operating
yes.
funds, okay.
And then in the fund balance, there's still $581,000 that can be put towards more in the assigned funds towards future development. And/or if we were going to maybe plan some future developments this year or coming up. I mean, ideally, as fast as we've been moving, we might want to consider approving to add to that future use and development amount and bump it up using that $500,000. The assignments, how they explained it, is just more, it's more of a technicality than it is anything. Unless you were putting them for specific things. Like in STARS, we have a 2-year emergency plan because we depend upon SMART, and if SMART's millage didn't go through, then we would need the funds to pay for the 6 buses that we would be losing, all of the maintenance that they do, plus the monies that we bring in. So STARS looks a little bit different than Parks and Recreation. Which do you want to go over, Star? They're on the reverse side, and it shows you $650,000 of their fund balance, which is $1.5 million. $650 is set aside for, or it is assigned specifically for operations, for a 2-year operation, just in case something ever happened. And then $150,000 of the fund balance is set aside for capital developments. And then the other appropriated amounts, the $560,000, is what we need from April through December to operate. And then the additional funds are the $225. So those numbers actually equal what's in our fund balance. So it's kind of like you looking at your checking account or savings account saying, you know, I need this amount to go on vacation, or so what I need the commission will have to, prior to our next audit, make a motion to either approve, change, do whatever you want to with the assignments for both Parks and Recreation and STAR.
When is the next audit?
The next audit will actually be in May. It kind of starts, doesn't it?
She comes in for our first visit in April. April 23rd, Ashley comes in and we kind of do some prep work for the audit. Our actual audit week is May 13th, that whole week. If anyone's available and wants to come in and assist, our doors are open.
I think it's important that we consider earmarking the additional funds for what area we want it to be in, just so that it doesn't, you know, it helps us to not have that money go elsewhere.
What are you thinking?
I think the requests by the director are appropriate, but I think they should be earmarked somewhere. So I think the future use and development for the excess is a great idea on the Parks and Recreation side of things. And over on the STAR, I would say the emergency or future use and development would be good.
So do you want to move any of the additional? Like under Parks and Rec, the 581,000?
Right, I think it would be advantageous for us to earmark it for future use and development.
All of it or part of it?
I think all of it would be okay. I mean, before we can actually use it, you have to bring an expense to us, correct?
Right.
For approval?
Right.
But this way, it's not just excess money available for anyone else to say, hey, there's money here for this.
Right.
Does this also need to wait for the end of the fiscal year to get the final numbers?
Well, this is the actual final number from the last audit. So
Oh, okay,
the
this is
new
audit to audit.
Audit.
Yes, audit to
Okay,
audit.
gotcha.
Now, the only thing that I will add to this, because last night when we were at the Bruce Township meeting, and the conversation about the Gilcher-Chrisman Pavilion, we're still not exactly sure how much money we need for that pavilion because the project, I don't know if anybody is familiar, we had put out a bid, well, the engineer company had helped us put out a bid for a very large pavilion at Gilcher with water, electricity, everything, and then a pavilion at the Washington Township Park that was smaller, but now we've kind of decided that isn't going to happen. But, and then pickleball courts. But when that bid came in, I think it was over $2 million. So we were taken aback. I think everybody is taken aback. I mean, expenses went up, everything like that. So this is something that we, as a new commission, are going to really have to look at too, whether we rebid it, whether we talk to the bidders. I mean, those are decisions that are going to have to be made. But even if it is earmarked for future use and development, a commission decision is, no matter what, is just going to have to be made, you know, that it's taken
We can
from
pull it
there.
back.
Right,
Right.
right. I just wanted to make sure that that was put out there.
I do have one question, Dan. With the bids that were put out, and now it's been more than 6 months
Yeah.
since we got those bids, on the projects that we're looking to change, for example, the pavilion, it was bid out with everything, okay? And it came back a lot more expensive than we had anticipated. Can we go back to the successful bidder and say, okay, this is what we want, or do we rebid it?
Through the chair, normally we would rebid it.
That's
because
what I thought.
The bid specs have changed.
Right.
And some would argue that it's appropriate for all the bidders to have the opportunity to make a more competitive response if the scope of the project has changed,
Okay.
even though that may take some time that you'd like to avoid, but that's.
Right. No, that's what I figured. I just wanted to make sure, because they did, when they bid it, they did break out a lot of the ancillary things
It'd
to
be different if
the
it was
project.
bid as a principal bid with alternates, but I don't believe that's the
No.
way the project was
No,
bid.
right, right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. So,
I do have one quick question, but kind of piggybacking on what you said, Amanda. So why do you keep it separated, or why did you keep it separated, the 581,000? Is there a reason for that, for not?
More like,
signing it?
it's just what we've accumulated.
Okay,
So, and I should probably, with that being said, kind of just do a really brief explanation of it. For the last 12 years plus, it has been, we went into a savings mode at one point because we built Gilcher-Chrisman Park, we built Bruce Township Park, we built 3 playgrounds, and then like the recession came. So at that point, we started saving, and then different obstacles came, total soccer, the interlocal, just many different variables happen. So within that time, we have not built a large pavilion. We have, the biggest thing that we built was last year was the accessible playground at Washington Township, which is great. But in the meantime, add COVID and everything else, our general, our fund balance has really blossomed. $4 million is a very big, healthy, but I'd hate to say, and I know that there's been conversation about should the millage go be less rate or anything like that. If it were to continue and the commission can't come together and we can't make the development happen, but the development is needed, I know that it's going to happen, and once you develop, you're going to need the monies to maintain it. And if we did go out for bid again and it comes in at $2 million, that's half of that there. So I mean, It's big. I know people say that. But it's big for a reason. It's time for us to build and develop and look at the lands and have the committees to, with
Yeah,
the
it's time for
township.
us to use it.
It is. It's time for us to, it's time. There's
People
time to
have paid
save
in,
and it's
let's
time to
give them
go.
their- yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I
And-
definitely agree with Amanda. We should probably put it somewhere, assign it
Yeah.
somewhere.
Does the commission have a policy for a percentage of the operating budget to, as a reserve?
No. That's not. Could you explain that? Like, so.
Well, this is your operating, how you keep, you're supposed to, have like a quarter of your salary or whatever saved so that,
Right.
if things,
Yeah.
Rainy
everything goes
day.
south and,
Right. That is kind of
That's your-
where the
that's your operation
assigned.
fund there.
The operation, but then also the assigned future use and development. I mean, that's kind of what it was put in place there so that we never built too much. That we always kind of had to have that and always be aware that we're looking at that.
Okay, and this is fine, but I'm kind of used to seeing the capital funds and the operating funds are separated. This is the chunk in case everything goes horrible and we don't get tax money, and then this is the chunk that we're reserving so that we can build stuff.
So in the budget, it is split up like that, per department, but I would absolutely like you to critique the budget, or, so if I know that, we should talk about
But this is per your auditor, so that's fine.
Okay.
So Amanda, you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the commission appropriate the additional funds, fund assignment of $581,122, that we designate that for future use and development.
I second.
All in favor? Oh, we need a roll call because we're not spending money, we're moving money, right? So,
It's just a different account, but you can do it either way.
Okay.
It's discretion of the chair.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. About Star, you want to do the same thing?
You guys good with that? Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a motion for the Star Transportation portion of the budget, that the additional funds of $225,671 be designated for future use and development.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So lawn care for 2024-25. Last year, we did go out to bid for the 23 fiscal year. And we did have within that bid, we could take them for a whole nother year if we wanted to. We asked them if there was an additional cost. The quality of our lawn care has not been necessarily up to where it has been in the past. In the past, we had used two companies, and we had a certain amount of quality that had happened there. We were being more thrifty. I don't know how to explain what had happened, but so we're very close at this point. So we can either move forward. However, if moving forward, I think that I'm going to have to look at the extras that need to be done in the parks, because you could really start seeing them, and we would have to bid those out or bid to a company who would do the extras, or I would put the lawn care bid out again and see where we're at. But I would have to do that very fast if we're going to do that, because by the second week in April, at the least, we need to be able to be cutting, so.
So what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, is you're thinking that number one, we could either rebid them, or we could extend another year on the current
On the
long
current.
contracts and then do another bid for ancillary work throughout the parks.
Yes.
We know what that is? Or would that be
Well-
part of the tree care, or would that be,
No, so the tree care, it could be,
Separate.
but that's why that is on the next line, because, again, that is an area that is in great need at our parks right now, too, is our trees. We have a lot of dead trees that need to come down. We have a lot of limbs and things that are, we've been fixing on an emergency basis as they happen. So we would like to go park by park and put a bid out there for the trees, maybe do a walkthrough, and then get bids through that so that that can happen through the summer, whether it's one tree company or two tree companies or however it ends up being. But, so that one I feel like I'm going to put out to bid.
right, that would be separate. But what would be the additional things that you're looking, that aren't being done, that
Well,
are not part of the current contract? If they're part of the contract, we should make them adhere to the contract and perform those services.
Right.
But if they're not, then, as long as they're doing what the contract calls for, there's nothing we can do.
Nothing right to do above and beyond. So that is really, we would have to, and some of it might come down to the size of their equipment that they have, that they're working with, where the landscapers in the past, well, the landscaper in the past actually helped build some of the parks, so their heart is in it also. The grass is being cut. I can't say that things are not completely being done, but this would be, if we were going to build out this, or bid out, this would be the time to do it. We are running out of time, is, again, to do that, but I think that more of the vegetation kill, we do have some in here, but we don't have as much as we used to do. Like, it's about half of what we used to have. So, those are the vegetation kill, the fertilizer, what did you say? Oh, the rolling. Well, the rolling, I think, comes down to, again, the size of the roller. So, one thing I think would be legal to do is if we kept this and take some of these items that are on here and take them, or because we signed this contract, we probably can't. It has to be with the two companies. If we either keep them or we go out to bid completely.
Well, I think we could bid for services outside of what's covered under their contract.
Yeah. Additional, because some of
Right,
it's
but-
on here.
But, I guess, there's a lot of ways you can do it, right? You can go back to them and say, hey, guys, we're not feeling the love here.
Yeah.
And see if they do better.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how many conversations you've had with them regarding
Several.
several.
Yeah, and they're very nice, and I would say that they've always accommodated, but we're not, I guess, in the past, it has been done, and if there was an issue, it was brought to us. Now we're constantly following them, or, trying to find it that way, which is just a change.
I guess another thing to consider would be, if we rebid everything, would we be paying less or more?
Right.
I mean,
Well, we would have
do we
to,
have an
I would say
idea?
probably more, because I would need to add, and maybe this could solve some of it, is, from how this was created, the whole thought process was just cut back here. But when you cut back on anything that has to do with your yard, you can see it after a certain amount of time. And I am not a yard expert, but I do know what we used to do. And then when the last commission cut it down, it was, you can continue to see it, like, and year after year. It's been like about 3 years now, not just
So your
even
long-term
before.
budget has been cut.
It has been cut, yeah.
Okay, so that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
All right. So are you suggesting it be restored?
I definitely think that it needs to be brought up to a certain point. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle, but yeah, it needs to go more of the services. So that's the biggest thing. I guess I could add the services to here or bid out if they're different, then bid out for the different ones? Or do I bid out altogether?
Well, I kind of think that, well,
I know.
I mean, it's a real toss-up because I think after last summer, where there was a lot of rain
Yeah.
and the grass needed to be cut probably twice a week instead of once a week, or when you got into July, in the beginning of August, most of the landscapers are down to every other week, and this year, they were still doing once a week, twice a
Right.
week, cuts. So I'm just thinking that they may, if we bid it out again, they may be thinking, I don't want to get caught in that
Right.
predicament, so the cost may go up. I don't know. It's just something to think about. I don't think it is necessarily a good idea to just put out another bid for the little ancillary things that aren't being done if we could wrap it into one. And if we did that, I think we would have to rebid it.
When does the contract officially expire? Are we out of contract now?
Well, it was, we can bring them back, is how it said, for an additional year if we want to. So really, at the end of October last year, they stopped cutting or doing anything that had to do with the lawn.
So can I ask a few questions? So you sign the contract, and so does the contract start in April and goes till October, goes to November?
It goes till, pretend that we needed to cut grass in November, we could do it. There was no set date, but because it's Michigan, it's
Right.
normally right around the end of October.
Okay, so basically you sign the contract in April and then it goes
Yeah.
through. If they need to cut in November, they'll come back.
Yeah, and then,
And they didn't have a problem doing that if that happens?
no, because I did put on there, that we could hire you for another year if we wanted to. Would there be a percentage, or let us know how much it would increase? And there was no increase. So, it could go,
So a couple other questions.
Yeah.
So you used two different companies last year,
2 different companies, yes.
and you weren't happy with one? Or
One
stepped up better than the other one stepped?
One has been around
Okay.
for a while, so they understand what needs to be done. The other one always came, they always cut the grass. Like, there's nothing we could really say horrible about them, except they didn't really look for it. And when we would ask them, to go out and trim again, or we would need whatever, because they have up to a certain number of amount, they did it. I can't say bad things about them, with the exception of we always had to ride them, which
Yeah.
is whatever. But we just probably need more services than we have.
So why did you
Within
use
this
two
contract.
different contractors last year?
Well, we do, because we have it's a pretty big area, or the different parks.
Okay.
We've always used two. I
Okay.
guess that would be the
Okay.
answer.
Well, and when it was bid out, there were, some guys bid on some things, some, you know what I mean? Some of them had a better price on this park and,
Okay,
so I mean,
okay, so you couldn't get a better price if one
Right.
contractor did everything, that no one stepped up and said, let's do this?
Well, everybody bid individually on each of the parks, so
Got it.
we could have used one, but because.
I was just
of the
wondering if
larger-
that might, if you gotten maybe a better bid if you gave the,
Well, how the bid went through, they did it through each park,
Got it.
and they picked the persons that were gonna do it, so.
Well, okay, so just value for your dollar, I mean, I hate for you have to go and police what's happening in the parks.
That is-
So that's a concern for me as
That
a
is,
citizen, that you have other things you need to be doing, but yet you're policing what's happening with getting grass cut. So
Right. Well,
I would think if
let-
you're unhappy with that contractor, I think maybe bidding out at this point might be a better option for this, to see who else would be interested in doing quality work.
That's where the conversation had went to. I mean, prior to, just with some of the township officials and
Sure.
different things like that, that maybe we need to bid out, but
I just have a quick question. So some of the ancillary things that they're not doing, are they creating safety issues at all on the fields or anything? Or
No.
is it just,
yeah.
it doesn't look
It's
great?
more, yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely.
Claire, I think Lynn has something to add.
Oh, all right. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is Lynn. Lynn is in charge of our
Lynn's in charge
facilities
of
and our maintenance.
parks.
Sure.
So the whole thing with the lawn service, we've been around forever, so we've had companies that have worked with us for a long period of time. And up until the last year, we didn't really have to go out and bid. We had two companies that worked together on our parks, did what they did. And of course, when you work long and no one's having issues, you create relationships and they do things. So when they go out and do things and they see something at a park, hey, this is what my suggestion is. Can we do this? Can we not? So there's that there. And then when you go out to bid, it's just like anything. The company that we had this year was fine. They did their services and stuff like that, but they're not going to look for things when you've had a relationship with a company for X amount of years. It's like your favorite lawn care. They know exactly how to take care of it. And then when they leave you, you're like, oh, they're not going to do the same. Change is great, but they tend to look at different things and know how we work. Some cuts in April have to be done twice because of soccer. Soccer at Giltshire, they have irrigation out there, so we got to get that up and running because they want green grass. So they got to, and it has to be cut more. Sometimes in like July, August, we have to back down our cuts because it gets so dry. And then the same thing with spring cleanup, fall cleanup. They seed things differently, but they've been working with us too. So that's another relationship that when you build years with a company, that they kind of read your mind and you kind of read theirs, and they just like, hey, we need this brush hog because this event's coming up, and they know that, and but that's, again, what we've been dealing with so many years, and then when we go out to bid and you bring a new company in, of course, they're not going to know that. So yes, did I have to call a couple times? Absolutely, because they're not going to know that. They had to come out here twice, which the other company just knew that because they've always done it. So it's just experience because they were new. So that's, if that helps at all, I mean, they were fine. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of
They weren't horrible.
relationships. I mean, at our department, there's a lot of things that go on. So when things break, certain companies we call because they're going to come like that for us. We don't have to wait because it's just a relationship that we've had with them, and they're vetted and all that kind of great stuff. But
Yeah.
when
And
it
they
co-
kept their prices
and-
always the same.
yeah.
So
from
that
year to
was-
year, it
but
wasn't
the
like a
bidding
big
has to
jump.
happen.
We never like went from X amount of dollars to whoa. They've been in the ballpark, but then they've also, both companies that we've used in the past have brought situations to us at our parks and said, this is what we thought would work better, do this, or can we do this? Chat about it. Is it advantageous to do? Okay, then we can do it. If not, then we didn't. But, I mean, that would be the difference of the lawn care issue if we go out to bid again or if we don't.
Do you think we should go out to bid?
Yeah, that's my next question.
I knew you were gonna say.
I would say yes, just to see, I mean, who else we get. I mean, we can do our things, but again, the ones that did
Because you
not.
say a couple phone calls, but I know I mean, Lynn is the one. I wasn't running out to the parks to do it, but she was
I'd get the phone
constantly-
calls, and I would just have to call them and say, this is what, and then, you know, of course, they would cut. It was too wet to cut, like at Crystal Diamonds, and then when they cut, it made marks.
We just
you
weren't
know.
used to phone calls. Like, we don't like to get the phone
And-
calls that something's wrong in our
Yeah.
parks.
Well,
And
and
that is
people
what
that
has been
use,
happening.
soccer organization that uses out at Gilcher, they've also created a relationship with our landscape people. Same way here at Bruce. So if one company didn't have a big enough roller, they'd call the other company to come out and do it.
And they would pay for that.
And they would
so you
pay
know,
for
if
that
they wanted
separately.
extra.
The company that comes out for Gilcher, they will call him on extra things to make sure their grass is the way they want it,
Right.
opposing to our contract with him. So they've grown a relationship with him, so they would call and say, you know, can he,
Former contractors.
our former
Our
contract.
former, yeah.
Yeah,
Where'd they go?
Well,
they're still here.
that's a long story.
But you had to enter a bid process.
We did, yeah, I mean, and I understand the bidding, to go out to bid, and they weren't raising their prices, so we did use them for years, and their heart is in our park, but then a lot of the noise that's been around the Parks and Rec Department kind of put us into kind of where we're at right now. And we definitely need to put some more services out there to make sure that the parks are, people are calling us to tell us how pretty our parks are instead of, you know, this is wrong, or we need this, or what have you.
Not spending enough money.
Right. I mean,
And they didn't actually go with the lowest bid.
no. But they went with
They didn't go-
someone who wasn't someone else, or
Yeah.
not a good reason.
It's just familiarity with the parks that our contractors that we've had in the past, they know the parks. And they
So
live in
can
the
we
area.
put a bid out to this
Yeah, I think we
contractor who
could.
knows our parks and their heart's in it? I mean, it
I
sounds
think-
like it's a good option for us.
I think that we have to put a bid out to the public.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And we
Like-
have a list, well, we did put it on BidNet Direct, but we also don't necessarily want somebody who has to drive from Waterford to come cut our grass. Because we do have those, I don't know if they're emergency situations, but where we want the soccer grass to be lower, can you come out, you know, today and whip it out? Or we're having a concert and the grass just grew too much, or what have you. So we do have a list of local landscapers. We'll use those, and we'll probably just go online and make sure that we find enough and send this out, and they can go to the parks. I mean, I think that we can get this turned around very fast. But if we do go out to bid, then we probably are going to have a quick special meeting to choose.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could do the budget amendments and get those, you know, at that time we would have the money to do that, so.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
How long do we, what would we put it out there for 3 weeks?
so my thought process was till April 5th, Friday, April 5th, because if I get it out tomorrow,
Okay,
unless, really can't wait that much longer.
right.
So, and then that way we could maybe have a meeting the week, that would be what, the 7th, 8th, in that week sometime, maybe just
I
quick.
did, the only, and we could obviously put it on BidNet
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Some of the contractors don't like BidNet because they have to pay.
they have to pay, yeah. Well, and the
Pay
one
to
thing that
bid.
happens too is you do get a lot of, it depends if you're building or, you know, the bids that we did through the engineering company for, I think it's good to do it both ways. So we always have it on our website.
Right.
We put this on our website and put it out on BidNet Direct, and then reach out to as many people as possible. In the past, I used to put ads in the newspaper, but I don't know that they do that anymore. I haven't really, you may
You
know
could,
that.
but I don't know that you
Or
did.
not an ad, but a public notice that we were doing a bid.
I mean, I think BidNet is sort of the equivalent of
Yeah, okay. Okay, so then I guess what I would like to ask is that we go out to bid for the lawn maintenance. And I will go through, update, this is just kind of like part of our bid, what I had them fill out so that we knew. But I'm going to go back to where we were about 3 years ago to look at how many weed and feeds and kills that we did so that we got back to that point. And then that way we can look at it. And then part of the contract too is that Lynn is in communication with them so that they're not just cutting every 7 days when the grass is dead, you know? So, she makes those verbal communications, so, okay. That is, well, what I would like to do, if the commission wants me to.
Yeah,
I'll move that that we go out to bid for a new lawn care contract.
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
So on to tree care, same concept. What we would like to do is put a bid out for all of our parks, whether it is 1 or 2 or
Well, individually,
individually
Right.
for each park.
right.
And then at that point, I guess, once the bids come in, whether we hire one company to do them all, or we look at the answers, I guess, that come in
Yeah, look at the
to
bids.
see.
Sure.
Yeah,
But I think we should, if we do that, I think we really need to be a little more specific.
yes,
And have everything
Mark.
really marked well, so that when, everybody's bidding on the same thing.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and, because again, and I don't know that, it would have to be a really big company to take
To
on
be
all
able
of
to
them.
do, right.
But,
Well,
I
and
think
one of the
hopefully
things
so.
discussed was actually doing a walkthrough, like setting a date and a time that we did a walkthrough of the park so that anybody that was going to bid on it, we're not as rushed with the tree, even though that needs to be done soon. But then we could walk through the parks with them so that anybody that comes knows exactly what's there. Or we go through and we mark them and let them come on their own. Which would be a lot less time maybe, but
It's like a bid meeting.
bid meeting, yeah.
Everybody comes and asks the same, and everybody's there when the questions are asked.
Are
It's
asked.
not unfair that somebody thinks of a great question that nobody else thought of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, this we have not done before because our companies have normally, the lawn care companies actually used to be the ones that actually took care of our trees as well. But we were, through discussion, it's a good idea that we bid the trees completely separate because we do have a lot that need to actually come down.
And it's a continuing issue.
Yes.
We've got this park out here. There's,
Constant.
It's mostly hazardous disease.
Yes, yeah. So with that being said, then I would put that bid out and bring the results back probably to our April meeting. Have the bid, so that we would have the results back
for the trees?
for the trees.
You think that's enough
I was
time?
just trying to think.
Oh.
Maybe I should do that for the May
I
meeting.
think,
So that, because time is whipping by here fast.
Yeah.
So for the May meeting.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we do have some trees that are down from the winter that we've just been doing small jobs with companies that have worked with us in the past to get those up, or our staff is taking care of it, so.
so, do we maybe want to, and I don't know, this may throw a wrench in things, we definitely do have some things that need attention now.
ASAP.
So maybe we could approve an expenditure of a certain amount of money for you to get those things taken care of now, before we go out for this bid, but is that going to then give an artificial view
Right.
of what's needed in the parks?
So the items that you're talking about now, are you talking about the limbs and the trees that are on the
Hanging.
ground? And the hanging, okay,
There's several hanging ones out here.
yeah,
And several stumps that obviously aren't going to fall on anybody.
Right.
But people are going to fall on them.
right, that
So,
need to be taken
you know,
out.
so we do need some stump removal.
So I feel like the stump removal, we could probably, that could be, we could take care of with the lawn care service that we're using right now, who has been taking, just to get the overhanging, anything that's overhanging on the lot right now, or do you have, I mean, I know the township has used a different
Yeah,
different people too, that are more tree-related.
right, right. I mean, that's, I guess, I mean, I don't know.
I know.
I mean, if, it would be nice to have a tree person
Yeah.
that you could just call as needed, rather
Right.
than waiting for a meeting.
Yeah.
You know, for some approval. And that's, again, there's other issues with that, that we'll talk about in upcoming meetings too. But I think that we need to do something like real quick.
Okay.
So how much do you think you would need to spend to get the danglers?
Well,
I'll take-
so part of the problem is that I have a limit on what I can
Right.
spend without going out
It's
to bid.
$2,500
Oh,
authority.
Right.
Can't-
So it's very hard to,
and we can't authorize like,
You can.
okay.
There's no, we have the policy on, you know, the spending policy. But that doesn't mean that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, I know you're listening. That doesn't mean that we couldn't make an approval of X number of her to spend up to X number of dollars to get these issues taken care of.
Or public safety.
Right.
Right.
On a one-time issue, and then at a later date, maybe look at her spending authority issue being raised.
So if we made a motion to approve not to exceed X dollars.
Right.
To manage hazardous trees in the parks. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep. That
We're
sounded
talking
good.
about $10,000?
I would think that
What I
would,
was thinking.
just to get to the point where then we can go back and
Okay.
do the walkthrough.
I'll back up and I'll say, motion to approve expenditure of up to $10,000 for management of hazardous trees.
I'll second.
Let's do a roll call. Since we're spending money.
Kim?
Donna?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Right.
Now, that being said, as far as picking who they're going to call to do this, does that go against?
I viewed, through the chair, I viewed the motion to give the director the latitude, given the emergency nature that was tied to the motion, to select one in the best interests of Parks and Rec to address those emergency tree circumstances.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
I think the other one, it seemed like the director was also asking the commission to consider directing seeking bids with respect to the
Yes.
ongoing tree trimming and care plan for the upcoming year.
All right.
So we need
Well,
that also?
let's, we want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to put out for bid tree care.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I think we should maybe do that on a per park basis.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll kind of do it just like,
We don't want to make it too big where somebody's overwhelmed.
right.
Might need more than one.
Well, and at that time too, I guess, as the results come in, then the commission could look at it and make a decision on 2, 3 companies or 1 company per park. Okay, so the master plan discussion. Our master plan, maybe for the good, is still not approved or sent to the county or to the state. So one of the things that needs to be done, and we had discussed this, that we were going to aim for the end of June is when we would like to get it completed. We've had numerous resident meetings. This has been about a 2-year process. I'd want to say we had over 6 workshops. We've had a survey that went out. We've had different discussions, but it all happened over the last 2 commissions. So when we were a 2-person commission is when it started. We had some issues with the company that we hired, but they did actually put the entire document together, which I only have 2 copies, but I feel like I ran so much, I used so many trees this week. But I absolutely can get each of you a copy of this, and/or it is on our website, so you can scroll through it. Or I can even just get you parts of it if you would like. But if anybody wants a hard copy right now. What I would like to do is, or what I think might be a really good idea, is if we maybe come up with a committee just to look at where it is, because it really was ready to be sent 2 times, or the last 2 years. But some technicalities got in the way each time. So what we need to do, and I think that this commission, or my hope for this commission, is that we look at the whole tri-community area to make sure that almost plot it out, like where's the land, where, talk with the supervisors or whoever at each township. They're in here, the properties are in here, but I know like the Washington Township supervisor, he has like ideas. He's had high school students take a piece of property and kind of come up with a plan for it, because it's, I don't know if swampland is the word, but it's
Wetland.
It's wetland, there you go. Sorry, that's a bad. But to be able to put something there that's a walking trail or a nature type of park that's green space, that is something that we don't necessarily have. And whether this happens in 5 years or this happens over 10 years, like there's property in Bruce Township that we know that hopefully someday it's a beautiful piece of property, but there's lots of different things surrounding that piece too. So, but I think it would be a good idea, above and beyond this master plan, or if we can get it in the master plan, that we start looking at what we need to do for this entire area, instead of just, not that the pavilion isn't great and the different things that we need to do at the parks that we already have, but where can we build for the future, or looking at the grass and the property and the green space that's around here. So again, by June 30th, all of those dreams and thoughts, but someday, this should be a stepping stone for that. It should list everything, and it does list everything in here, so that if we did write a grant, or we wanted, or a piece of property came our way, that we could, absolutely use it for a grant. Because that's why one of the biggest reasons of having a master plan is that
It's a guide.
it is a guide.
It's a guide. You don't have to live by it.
Right, but it gives you a stepping stone, and it gives you the right to apply for grants, because if you don't have one, there are a lot of grants that you can apply for, which I know that you have a lot of would love to pick your brain someday on this. But so that was my thought, and I know that you're an alternate, and it would be nice, I think, that if we had started making committees and things that,
Oh, we engage the alternates, definitely,
yeah, and,
because we need to keep them in the loop,
right,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, the, oh. Tom. So, well, so F kind of goes with G, with the committees, the master plan discussion and the committees. I think that my thought process was if we had a master plan group or committee, and including some residents have come forward or have come to our meetings too that might want some input on these different things too. And then again, the tri-community park area kind of goes with the master plan. And then maybe even looking at our interlocal to make sure, you know, I think that anybody that reads it, and it's good, it's a good base for everything, but, you know, like, the terms are very short. We just, like a year, just
Kind of a
like-
first draft.
Yes, it is, and we've had 2 amendments on it, but I think that, you know, it can always be looked at, and now that we've been working with it, to see, oh, maybe this would work better, or maybe 2 years isn't long enough for someone to sit up here, because sometimes it takes a year just to kind of even figure all of this out, so we had a kind of a slow start, but I feel like we're gonna move through this very
I
fast.
don't think that there's anything in the interlocal, though, that says you have to leave after 2 years if the commission wants you to stay. So,
I mean, I would suggest that if you wanted to appoint like 3 commission members just to be a core team to be reviewing and advising, and however you want to fan out from there to add to that, but it's really good to have a small set of commission members at the middle of it with you.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Now, there's probably
Ideally,
some
It'll
rules.
be our strategic plan.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
I
that's
said,
what I was gonna,
well, whatever the,
The number.
yeah, I mean, whatever the quorum thing is, but to just start, to make the plan, to bring the people in, you have to,
right.
I was just saying, ideally, it would become the strategic plan for the agency.
Which is,
Really look those 5.
okay.
The master plan, I mean, I've reviewed a lot of it. Most, it's 160 some odd pages
Yeah.
or something. But, you know, a lot of it is the standard,
Topography and
you know.
statistics and.
Yeah, that, you know, everybody gets in the package. The parts that are specific to us are not that big.
Right.
And, you know, those are a good place to start, to look at, you know, what the parks are. We've got things in there that have been in there for a long time that haven't been done. And that's one of the questions that I've received and complaints, if you will, as to, okay, this stuff has been planned since 2017. Why isn't it done? And, you know, I know that's not our fault. You know, the current commission, you know, we took office, if you will, in May of last year. So we haven't had a lot of time to do things other than get a lot of administrivia done with policies and procedures and things like that. So, but I think it'd be a good idea to have a committee to review the master plan and report back.
Definitely. Yes, because the commission is the only way that things are going to get things done.
Right.
You know, it has to,
We
Does
need,
that have to be approved by the different municipalities also, or just?
and I hope not.
well, no, it needed to be approved by the highest, which authority, which,
But it seems to me, if I could, just a timeline of when the plan could be brought to the commission for ultimate consideration and approval, that type of time frame. I mean, not that a committee wouldn't be a good idea. It seems like commission needs to know what steps have to happen before it can be presented and approved and considered.
So the June 30th is when, like, this can go and be approved, but again, you'll want to look at the pages like 59 through.
Again, does it need to be approved by the townships?
No, because we went through the process.
The back page, isn't there a resolution?
In the prior to this, when it was a two-person commission, it had to be approved and taken and had a hearing at all of the townships and the village for that fact. But then in December, or when I was going to do all of this, this is when it came that the hearing was going to be done at the commission level, but the presentations were I'm sorry, what was that?
I thought it hadn't happened yet.
Oh, yeah, no, I did the presentations in December. What had happened was there were some issues that, so it didn't actually, we actually opened the hearing happened, but there was no vote that it could go and be approved. It was a
Tie.
technicality.
Wasn't it a tie? I don't remember.
I think so. It was,
Rough when half of your commission is not approving
right.
your
But they-
master plan, that's
These are some issues and the noise and that just has been happening. And so this just really needs to get approved. It needs to get on our shelf. But then we need to make sure that all of these things that are in here happen and then just start working towards the strategic plan.
Yeah, well, it's good to, we should all take a month to review it. Why don't we do that and
Yeah,
Yeah.
put it on the next agenda.
put it
Right.
on the next agenda? I mean, I will submit comments. I know I won't be, participating, but I'll submit comments.
How do you know?
Because I'm an alternate.
Pam might go on vacation.
If we have a committee, there's no reason we can't have an alternate on a committee.
Okay, whatever you like. But I will do a thorough review.
Okay.
When was that drafted originally?
So 2 years ago. But it's been in the process. It was at the end of 2022 because we were going to send it in 23 and then the new interlocal, everything started. Then we were moving towards it to send it in 24. And the presentations, like, I had went to the townships, to each one of them, talked about it. But for various reasons, it wasn't approved at this level, so we are here now. So.
You went and you presented this to each one of the townships just to inform them of this document?
To
not
inform
ask
them.
for approval?
Right. In the past, we used to have to get approval from each of the townships and the village. But now it's more of a presentation and so that the people can come out.
Sure.
And if they have any additions or different changes, like we've made still some different items that were going to be updated. Name, when we added Star to the commission's name, needs to be added there. But yeah, no, the survey was done in 2022 for the 23 approval. But again,
And I think
Lots
the
of-
reason too for involving the townships, at least giving them, reviewing the document with them, they own the parks.
Sure.
So that, and you need to make sure that we're not stepping on their toes. So, we're going to put that for the April agenda. And we'll discuss it and,
What's the date of the April meeting?
April,
I left my calendar in the other room.
is it the 18th? Oh, yeah, that's right. Which, remember,
Not mine.
our next meeting, oh, yeah, sorry. I put it on the extra agendas because I thought anybody that came to the audience. Yours, you should have a copy, and if you
I
don't, I'll
do.
get you a
I
nice,
have-
pretty
I have
one
a
like
copy.
that.
I just left it at my desk. Okay.
Okay, so, would
Maybe
anybody,
put the committee,
again,
maybe put the, picking the committees or at that time.
on the 18th,
After everybody's had a chance
Okay.
to review.
all right?
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Unfinished business, property leases, the update Village of Romeo, we already had that basically from the attorney. And the update Washington Township, that there has not really been one. I think we're going to need to, because I believe Cindy was the person talking with Washington Township on that, so we'll need to pick somebody else to discuss the lease with Washington Township. Volunteers.
What are the terms of these leases?
We're making them up as we go.
So we do not have a lease with Washington
Okay.
right now, but for the village, we do have, well, we had a lease, but then our name changed. So
The
the
entity
lease,
changed.
the entity changed. So a new one needs to be developed. It is in the process or,
Clara, can you explain to them how the lease works and how we pay Washington Township for the upgrades right now and what you're looking to have?
yeah, so for the Village of Romeo, we pay $1 for 99 years was the original lease. And we take care of the update or upkeep and maintenance of the building and the property. For Washington Township, we currently have our activity center there, which is a senior center. And it was decided somewhere along the line that it was going to be a 60-40 split. So if they put a new roof on, the Parks and Recreation Department pays 40% of that. No. So for instance, we do have the parking lot right now, the 60-40 has actually brought us to $466,000 that we just received an invoice for.
Which if you were renting is over $30,000.
And we have no approval authority of them doing the improvements?
We have, no, very
Their
no.
building.
No. So, and those are the things that we need to, and especially since every 4 years it can change, we do need something in writing or concrete so that we can figure out, for instance, they just refobbed all the doors. And it's going to be an issue.
Right now, I'm having an issue.
Oh, all right, so Lynn, here's Lynn again. But, so the fobs are not working for us. We're not an 8 to 5 type of service organization. We have, I'm guessing, we have probably, the door won't open?
No, my meeting
That was rude. I didn't mean like that, but that was a please.
Our meeting tonight ended early, and my facilitator had called me and said that it ended early. Well, now that the key fobs are working, the doors are timed. So I had Mary, the deputy clerk, time it out she told me I needed 15 minutes prior to their leaving, so they would leave the building at 9 o'clock. So she would have that door locked at 8:45. In the event of a no-show, or in the event of leaving early like we have tonight, she told me to text and call her, and she's able to remote do that from her phone. I have done both things, and that is currently not happening.
Yeah.
And I have no way to lock that door. I cannot they have not told me how to force lock it. I don't have privileges to lock it. So I'm kind of dead in the water right now.
We're at their,
If they have the same type of system that we have, our doors automatically lock, and our deputy clerk is the person that, you know, sets the time and all that. We did have some issues with, she was sometimes able to do it remotely, and I think there was one time here not too long ago where the remote thing didn't work.
Our schedule down there varies
Right.
week to week, day to day, evening to evening. So sometimes when we don't have anything, it can stay locked after 3 o'clock when it is supposed to lock. But when we have issues tonight, unfortunately, we don't have privileges. I've asked if the key fob can just be programmed to where our facilitators, when they open the door, it unlocks, and then when they swipe it again, it locks. So we can have that door locked, but that
We
We're
also
definitely-
have keys to our doors.
we've had to switch out our keys to return, to get the fob.
So we're having a little bit of technical, yeah, and a little bit of growing pains and a little bit of control, and, you know, it's newish, because this is history repeating itself. We've had the same issue, and when the first time fobs were put on, and we became such a problem because we're never in there at normal times. And so they finally just took the fob off. But I hate the thought that we're going to have to spend the next 6 months proving this point where they get sick of us emailing,
I mean,
texting,
We
calling.
had problems yesterday
Yeah.
having the door being locked, and we did that, and we had yesterday, today even having it locked.
Yeah.
And then
This
they
is
came out
fairly
and
new.
fixed it, and then now it's up to this one person that can only lock the door.
Right.
So,
So those are things we definitely need to, when we meet.
Negotiate the lease.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I know that the whole thought process before was that we were going to wait, do Romeo first, and then do Washington, but I think the communication has to be, you know,
I don't think that they're necessarily tied in any
Right.
way, shape, or form. I don't see a reason with not, you know, doing the individual.
yeah.
You know, and, you know, again, I know Cindy and I had talked about this previously, you know, about trying to work regular, like, rent payments, lease payments, rather than these cost share issues, so that we knew
Right,
what
something,
month to month.
Well, you can't plan those capital costs
right.
if you're not part
In
of the
charge of them,
decision.
right,
If
right.
you're not part of the decision-making process.
And for years, this whole lease and the money being spent was not approved to happen at the Romeo Community Center. So if you go through the Romeo Community Center, it's not falling apart, but it's old, and it's just like the grass. If you're not putting money into it and you're not keeping up with those things, it's not going to happen. Our parking lot was a prime example of that happening when we actually did get approval to move forward with the parking lot. The front parking lot couldn't even be graded down like how they grade it down. It went straight to dirt. And so that caused a whole lot of what I call emergency issues. But so that we kind of would have had to stop in the middle of the project, and it ended up costing more because we're not maintaining it enough. So that's what we want to get away from. And the key fob is an example, and it's very, very frustrating. And again, we went through it before, because when you don't have control and you're sharing a space, no matter what, you have issues. But hopefully, we can work through that. And losing space, we've lost the upstairs of the activity center because the township is growing, and they needed space because of the new laws with the elections. So, you know, it's just hard, because then our people are displaced, and we have to figure out, you know, where the seniors are going to have.
Should change.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Cost share should
Yeah,
change.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that those absolutely need to be looked at.
So how long ago was this lease amount established?
We don't actually have a lease.
No, we
Wait,
don't have a
why are
lease,
you-
but the 60/40
Yeah.
was like, just, I don't even know who thought of it. I'm going to
So it was
say,
just verbal?
yeah. It is, yeah. It was within the last,
How do you have an informal arrangement that costs you $500,000?
Yeah, exactly.
right, yeah.
There you go.
All right. This
why we're
is
here.
like, yeah.
So are you
Means-
looking for someone from the committee to be your liaison between them to discuss this lease?
Well,
to-
we need, that's what's happening is like, oh, go ahead, Bob.
What we have done, I know Pam and I were working with the Romeo Community Schools. I believe Cindy was working with Washington and Romeo. And I don't know who else was involved in that initially, but it was down to just Cindy. So I don't know exactly where they were at. I think she was trying to do the Romeo Community Center first, and then concentrate on Washington.
So is there any documents, any notes about what was discussed and who she spoke with? I mean,
No.
No,
No,
not that I'm aware of.
nothing from legal counsel, nothing, no papers, nothing?
No.
I mean,
So,
do you know who the
That-
contact is?
Yeah, who's the
well, it would
contact?
be, Sam would be.
Well,
because-
Sam for Washington and
Right.
Megan
And Megan.
for the village.
For the
Megan
village.
Poznanski, she's the president.
I mean, it would make sense if your representatives from Washington or your liaisons with
Sure.
Washington.
Yeah.
Report back here, have legal counsel looped in.
Yeah, exactly.
And it might be nice to have like two people.
Well, I would think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that would be a conversation that you would have to have legal counsel with you when you would meet.
Through the chair, at some point, certainly, but at least the initial discussion with respect to a framework,
Sure.
council could be involved in that discussion, or informally, there could be a discussion of the issue to try and reach some consensus. At some point then, obviously, putting a document together that reflects the parties' agreement would be necessary.
Sure.
I can tell you what we did, what Pam and I started doing. The first thing is to sit down and talk with Clara and the program coordinators to determine what of that facility we need. Okay? And, having them in the loop, and that's in my opinion, again, everybody can has their own. But that's a starting point, would be to see what exactly we have and what we need, what we're lacking, and to start from there. That seemed to work with the schools, although we're still waiting, and we're going to talk about that one in a minute, so I won't.
Sure.
Make a suggestion, is that it be couched more in the services we provide rather than what our needs are.
Right,
You know, they need us.
yeah.
Exactly.
And again, a lease agreement with regular payments, I think, depending on obviously how much they want, is a better option
Yeah.
than this cost share agreement, for budget and planning purposes anyway.
Yeah, because that wasn't budgeted.
So who,
So where's that coming
Well,
from?
that, we just got that too. So, well, we have, it's gonna have to come forward.
That's for the parking lot.
So the entire parking lot, we're paying
no.
40%
40%.
of, right, of the entire parking lot.
Right.
What, so it's more than what we were supposed to pay?
Yeah.
And they just shove it on you?
Well, not shove, but I mean,
I'm from Washington, so I can say that.
that's okay.
Payable hasn't been approved yet.
No, we just got it.
But the other thing you have to realize too is, I mean, that parking lot, Parks and Rec, uses a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not just for the activities in the building, but the park itself. I mean, that's where the vast majority of people enjoying and using the park are going to park their vehicles.
They did, so the 60/40 is, they looked at the square footage.
Square
That
footage,
is in
right.
there. And and the fact that the park is out there. Is kind of how I believe they came to that understanding.
Well, they ran the water, right?
They did run the water.
Bathrooms?
Yes.
So let's put bathrooms there and make it more,
Right.
I mean,
There are some things we want bathrooms at our parks, but when you add bathrooms to the parks, our maintenance staff that we have are really, they are very minimal on the maintenance side. They're part-time, they go, they take care of the garbage, they take care of if a limb fell down, or very simple things. So when we do start adding larger pavilions, bathrooms, kitchens, we're going to have to look at our maintenance staff part of the budget and add staff to it. So there's just like a lot of different things that are going to have to happen. Yes, definitely, definitely.
growing
some
pains.
sort of
So it is,
supervisor role,
yeah,
somebody who's responsible.
right. Right now, our staff, they come in super early, they unlock our facilities, they head out in the trucks, they go do the garbage, they look around, make sure that fix anything on the playground or check the playgrounds, and really that's their day besides the odd jobs that we're constantly given. Hey, this door's broken, can you try to fix this, or what have you? But, I mean, that's the extent of our maintenance. Not that they're not very talented, because they are, but we are gonna have to have people who lock, unlock, and do more. So, the Washington Township parking lot, the 60% of, I wanna say it was $300,000 is what I put in the 2023 budget. You said it was how much?
433. And we paid 40, right?
40%. But that is the 40%.
That is our 40%.
So, okay, so. Oh no, I thought I did 350,000. So about 225 is what I have. So I have about half budgeted, partially in the improvements part, and then the other part came out of the capital development, because it went above and beyond the funds that we brought in from the millage and what have you. I know.
So, do we need to approve that? Or are you not seeking approval yet?
Well, I'm just really finding out about it, but we do have to, unless you want to negotiate it, but I don't know that, how we would negotiate it without the lease at this point.
Right.
So we almost have to approve it. They did, I'm guessing, bringing that water back, that was probably all our charge, because I don't know what the actual cost was. Well, I could 60% it and figure it out, but to have it completed. But I don't know I don't know if it's worth a fight right now.
I would say we're very close to the end of the fiscal year. I'm sure they want it off their books. I'd like to clear it off my books and be able to have the check go, just because adjusting entries, blah, blah, blah. So we do have the check available tonight. It is not in the payables run, but if you did approve it, I could get them their checks so they can get it off their books. And it's just one less thing for the audit to look at, from my perspective.
I just have to note that we'd be paying that without there being an agreement that we'd be charged that. We never agreed
Right.
formally.
Well, through the chair, it sounds like there's an oral agreement.
Yeah.
Of
Right.
some, to some respect. It seems like maybe it would be appropriate for a committee with respect of the commission to really dig into this issue, to provide recommendations to the commission, like pointed recommendations, because I think the commission doesn't have a full grasp of the complexity of that issue, which sounds like a long, I know you're don't have all the historical
Yeah, yeah.
background of when it became 40%, but I think that's important for the commission to really understand what the responsibilities and obligations are of the commission with respect to that bill. And it may very well be appropriate, but asking, it seems like there's not sufficient clarity on that issue to approve it tonight.
Well, and can we ask for the actual itemized bill so that we can, see what our 40%
Yeah,
is?
where our,
I mean, I think, and I think as you stated, historically, we've been paying 40% just about everything they do down there, right?
yes.
So,
That has, when the roof
so
went on, honestly, I really think that was kind of like when they,
I do believe I have the backup, the bill back at the office.
but that's
I mean,
when
they
the
did send a
60/40.
bunch of backup to the total dollar amount.
But does it make sense, I mean, would it be appropriate for commission members to negotiate that or clarify that on your behalf? I mean, we're
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to have your back.
Yeah, I honestly, I didn't have the verbal agreement about the 60/40. It was told to us in the last commission, two-person commission, that this was,
I don't think
How?
we pay that without a conversation with
Mhm.
ownership of Washington
That's been going on.
okay,
Township. Which is
so, who wants to take on that commission
Donna
here?
will.
I'll be happy to start a conversation.
Okay.
I'm guessing the primary issue is Washington, correct? Washington
Well-
Township.
Well, it's not
The
that
village
that
as
it's
well?
an issue, it's
Yeah.
that we
Right.
don't have an agreement, and what historically has been happening is this 60/40 deal, which I think was based on square footage of usage and things like that.
I think.
But the square footage that we're using, the footprint has
less.
changed.
Right, it has to.
Right,
so, yeah.
Yeah, and I know this has come up before in other bills, when there was one for the elevators, I believe, that we were charged
It's still
70% or
Still
something like that.
outstanding.
We were charged 70%?
Yeah, because there's two elevators that Parks and
we
Rec
use them.
uses.
They go to our areas.
They have
so-
three, right?
They have two.
Oh, that-
But the one is the main elevator that is in take you to the basement, which was originally there when the township building was. But we've converted basement rooms into community rooms where we have fitness classes and so on. And then there's one that takes you to the upstairs that's within our activity center. So the activity center was really built for the seniors or, for the community so that we had classes, the original room, and then the township, they actually built the additional rooms for us too, because the activities, people were coming, we needed more space, and they wanted it, like you said, it's for them. But, and we've never really had a bill that came to this amount. That's huge, even the roof was.
But we
very-
did know that we were going to be on the hook for some of it.
We did, yeah, because it's definitely in the 23, 24 budget. I just didn't realize,
How much?
right. And I don't know that, obviously, they didn't realize how much, so.
Yeah, weren't there some,
There was like preliminary, that's where I got my
Issues,
numbers.
right.
I didn't just guess at them, but again, like the
the parking lot
Yeah.
at the Romeo Center?
oh, you're right.
We had extra expenses that you don't know about
Right.
until they start working.
Right. And that one was a 2-year process too. The bids had went out and then the company that was picked honored it, so they did it. So there is definitely a need for the lease, but more to know what we're going to be charged for, or
Right.
if we're going to change Romeo's lease that we're not doing.
And I just wanted to say that I'm not insinuating that Washington's been giving us a bad deal or anything,
Right.
because they have provided us space, they have added onto the building, they have, so I mean, it's really made or helped Parks and Rec have a definitely have a footprint there. So I mean, it's just for everybody's sake, and for budgeting and so on and so forth, that we need to have these agreements. And I think it's also part of the interlocal, wasn't it, that we
That
were
there are
supposed
agreements.
that we were supposed to have these agreements in place. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So, if a couple of you guys want to do that, you guys
Would you like to?
Yeah.
Okay.
do that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. You got their names down, right, Myrna?
I do.
All right. We move on?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that, it probably wouldn't be bad, and I hate meetings, but it wouldn't be bad. I think that if I came along at some point and/or,
Yeah, we took her with us.
well, it comes in handy because I know what's happening, whether
Right.
it's me
You're going to
or
know, yeah, you're
the
going to know.
facility coordinator, whomever.
Right.
It's easier to help answer the questions or listen to what they're saying and see, not
Sure.
that they're gonna say something that we do or we don't do, but it might be a good idea at some point in this process that
I agree.
they're included.
All right. Okay. On to the Romeo Schools Agreement. In the email, I think y'all got from Pam, indicating that the Romeo Schools kind of wants to hold off and see what happens with the election. So that they're kind of holding off digging into the agreement until August. And I believe that's to ensure that our millage is renewed. And I mean, I don't blame them for that, but I don't see what harm it would do, because to get something sooner than that, but, we play ball with them.
Well, and so Verna made a very good point. Just so you know what our agreement is right now, we pay $45,000 a year for the use of the gymnasiums and multipurpose rooms and the pool, Monday through Friday. On the weekends, we do pay for custodians if we have to bring a custodian in. But it is very inexpensive lease for gym space. And the relationship that we've had with the schools, I'm sorry, I should also say that we use all of their ball fields in their outside areas, and we do the scheduling for them, for the community, or not for them, but for the community residents. And we drag the ball fields and chalk them for the games and what have you for the summer. So we use our community fields and we use the public schools. When we first started, or years ago, the school playgrounds were actually our playgrounds before all of the parks playgrounds were built. So Parks and Recreation had helped with the school playgrounds. So we've always had a very good working relationship with them. It's just a matter of, they want to make sure that this interlocal gets re-signed. They want to make sure that our millage gets out there and it's the same, because if something changes, then they're going to have to look at, right now it's Romeo, Washington, Bruce, but if there were no more Romeo, Washington, Bruce Parks and Recreation, what does the school do? Like, who do they pick? Who gets to use the gym? Who gets to use the pool?
Right.
So I could see why they're,
Yeah, I mean, if the entity goes away, though, so does the contract.
exactly, yeah. So, and the schools, we know, and they know, they actually were part of like the original making of the Parks and Recreation in the very beginning, because they know that it's all the same people. The kids they're getting an education, and then they want to play baseball, they want to recreate, learn to dance, what have you. So, however, the school money is completely separate than Parks and Recreation village money, and that's where the payment comes from, because we're in their way at nighttime. They could just close, but they stay open for us, and, you know, they have to hire more people because we are in there, they lock, they unlock, and all of the different things. So there is that, so I can see why the charge is there.
Well, and for what we get, it's not expensive.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
really
They've-
reasonable, right?
They've
Yeah.
they've done us well.
They have,
So,
yeah.
But anyway, that's the update on that. Update on the bylaws. I thought the bylaws were done.
So,
I believe we were waiting on the name change, the adding of star. It's
Oh.
supposed to just be added to, and star transportation.
And who's doing that?
Amanda Bowers, the new secretary.
All right. Come on.
All right.
These are the things. This is where
Thinking over here.
there's been a little bit of a lapse since the secretary, and so getting you all of that paperwork, I think,
Okay.
is, and the computer, all the policies and everything like that, so we have them. And honestly, I think what we need to start doing is giving you access to our website too, so those can be stored on there, starting now for the next commission secretary, for, you know, as we go forward. I think it's probably a good idea that the commission has access, and if you don't want the access, you know, yeah, you can give it,
Sure.
send it to us, and I'll access it.
Okay, you tell me what you need.
All right,
I'll take care of what you need.
All right.
so I'm
Now.
gonna put Phyllis.
Lock and Claire in for the next several years. It's next on the agenda, right?
It is. So, and I'm ready to sign it. However, I'm not sure if we have an updated copy. You don't know about the employment agreement? There was like,
Through the chair, I saw a copy of it, but I never saw the final version.
yes, so I feel like it kind of,
I believe, just to finish that thought, I don't believe I was at the December meeting, and I think there was discussions at that December meeting.
We didn't have a December.
maybe it was
Was it
January.
November then? that it-
Yeah.
I just know it went somewhere. All the changes,
That I thought John was,
oh, maybe.
but,
Well,
yes.
So,
I can circulate the copy that we have on our system. I just don't know what may have happened at that last meeting as to whether it was finalized or not.
Yeah, I don't think it was, I don't think there was anything major.
no.
In the 90 days.
Well, I think all those changes were made. I really think it came down to,
Name? Or some things were crossed out? No, they did that.
No, I think it was the name.
Okay. Because we do need to get that signed.
I know. So at our special, by the special meeting,
I'm sorry, but wouldn't that be reflected in the minutes?
yes. That's what I was just
Okay.
thinking, that I'm going to go back and look at that, because we've had this discussion too. So I will add that.
Okay. Did you pick a date for that? Special meeting?
No.
Okay. PNC credit card.
This is me. Okay, so we have struggled since I've been here to get credit cards. Right now, we currently have one credit card. It is in Clara's name along with Parks and Rec. So any employee who needs to use the credit card has to come into her office and get the credit card, use it, bring it back, next person takes it. It's an accounting nightmare. If there is a missing receipt, which doesn't happen often, but all you have to have is one missing receipt to create hours of work tracking it down if you can't identify it. So we've been trying to get new credit cards. It was stalled, and we didn't get the paperwork that was signed back in January was never submitted to the bank, so we're still on hold with that. Hypothetically, I may have been in contact with the bank because I don't have any access to our accounts. But what I will tell you is I know what you need. For the new check signers to go in, we're going to do this all at once to go to the bank. We have to put the new commission members on and what their official status is. So we have to have the meeting minutes that state who was appointed, when they were appointed. I need to have meeting minutes that say when we officially took our new name that added Star Transportation on letterhead. And the other changes would be to remove the old officers from, like Star did get a Visa card. They have one card, and there's also one in the former treasurer's name that will have to be, that card needs to be taken down. The new treasurer will get a card. They said it's just standard that whoever the treasurer is gets a card, whether they use it or not. It's just how the cards are issued. So who's going to be removed from both Parks and Rec and Stars? There's 2 signatures cards for our checking account, which we only have one. Who's being added? I would like, and this is for the commission to decide, to have access to be able to call customer service and find out who, like if I have a $20 returned check charge or something, to be able to call in and say whose credit card was rejected or where is this reversal. Right now, if there's $20 or $40, I'm going to be calling you for you to call the bank for me on my behalf, which if you want to, that's fine. I can involve you, but you know, for $20, I could help you out there. And then for Star, I also need to get added to their Pinnacle Access, which is the ability to also make ACH payments. The Star Pinnacle account is set up, which authorizes them to get the credit cards. Claire is the only one authorized as the admin right now, but she cannot put me on to be able to pull credit card statements or bank statements or anything that has to come from the commission. So that would be part of what I draft in the letter on letterhead with all these other changes. You'll have to do a new Visa credit card application to get us credit cards. What we had originally asked for was, I believe, 5 or 6 credit cards in the name of each department head. So dance uses the credit card a lot, so our dance coordinator would have one, maintenance coordinator, program coordinator, special events, Clara, and the senior coordinator. So they would each get a card. They're responsible for their card and which of their employees they give it to and getting all their receipts. And it's going to be itemized on the bill so that if I'm missing a receipt from, maintenance, I go to Lynn and I say, who had the card? Who'd you give it to on this day? And it'd be a lot easier to track it. So that will be part of what we put in the letter and part of what you can all sign for, if you so desire, when you visit the bank. I'm also suggesting, because we do have all that money that's been in question for so long, that while you're there, we open some type of a savings account. It's going to be, the interest will probably not be the best, but let's move some of that money out of checking and earn, even if it's a little bit that we earn, something's more than nothing until the decision can be made where we're going to invest some money. Because right now it's all in a, 0% checking account doing nothing, and the amount FDIC insured, all that stuff. I can draft a letter with all of this stuff for you, and all you have to do is together pick a date. Michelle said she's off next week, but any date the first week in April, if you tell her what day, everyone can go to the bank on their own time frame, and she will just make herself available at the branch office for each one of you to stop in and sign all the required paperwork.
So they do not have to go as a group?
They do not have to go as a group. And the letters and the minutes are all going to facilitate who's going on the account, who's coming off of the account, what your role is, and basically our account numbers and what we're looking for. And then the letter will be signed by treasurer and chair, the letter that I will draft.
So can you summarize that? So we need you to have access? Because
Yeah, I'll put it all in the letter. Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay.
I will have. She has admin access.
It would be read-only access.
Yeah.
Right.
Be able to make.
Well, and ACH, like if she ever gets to the point, there's one thing I would like to do, her gas cards that charge that high fee, and then we have to always overnight the payment because it never gets there on time. I believe by putting them in Pinnacle, I could actually initiate the check through Pinnacle to pay that credit card. But then I would put the rule in there, but then somebody else has to go in and approve the rule saying, I'm allowed to pay $5,000 on this specific vendor, however often, but there's very specific rules that, and you will also be lucky enough to have access. So,
For Star, right
Yeah.
now, we have to go to the post office, we have to pay to make sure that this fuel gets there on time, or else we get an enormous amount. I mean, what was
They
it?
charge like
What's
25% of our balance as the late fee. It's
Yeah.
not just, yeah, it's
Right.
crazy.
So we have to make sure that check gets there. I mean,
So a lot of times she's taking the credit card and not knowing what the bill is, but she knows when it's due, and she might make a check for a little bit more than it's going to be for, just to make sure that we get it out in the mail on time and they get it on time. That could be another thing we look at too is, well, because we are tax exempt, if we set up a gas, we can't just use the credit cards for gas because then we'd be charged tax everywhere. So we have to have like individual cards at different gas stations if we had them. But I think maybe looking at a different type of gas card, like Parks and Rec uses mobile, that doesn't charge us for sales tax. And I know we don't have the same issue that she does. So that's something for down the road. But as far as the bank stuff, I will do this letter and have it available to you guys. All you guys have to do is pick a date, and I will coordinate that with Michelle. And then, that's it.
So I have a question about the money, you saying moving money into a savings account to earn interest. Shouldn't that be something that we decide to move that money?
Yes.
And my question would be is, shouldn't we move it into a CD for a short period of time? CDs right now are getting good rates.
Yeah, that's up to you. But I'm thinking while you guys can decide to do anything you want, but while you're at the bank and everyone's going to be going in and signing, if you guys made some type of decision to move some of it right away, yeah, that's all. But the easiest thing, if you didn't know what you wanted to put it in, was to put it in savings, and then you could maybe see about the CDs or where you wanted to put it, and then the next month go in and move it from savings to a CD. That's, I have no authority there.
But I think we, as, we need to make some type of motion before she drops off that letter that's.
Yeah, I got all that.
Right.
So
If-
they have to
if,
vote on that before they do anything.
I don't think
And
she's,
that when they were appointed, those are-
I don't think she's going to put in the letter that we're going to move any money.
She stated that she was
You weren't gonna put moving money into that letter, right?
No, I'm not going to put, no, I'm just
Because if
suggesting.
we're signatories, we can move money.
Yeah, it's just possibly if you guys wanted to open a savings account
While we're
while you
there.
were there
Okay.
with the accounts, but no, it's going to be, I will have everything ready for this checking account that we have, and the credit cards that we hope for
Yeah.
will be available in the letter to do.
Per Michelle too, right?
Yeah, and this is hypothetically came from Michelle, that this would be all the documents so that we can actually get this done. And,
Yeah,
you
the
know, like I
credit
said, the
card-
letter needs to be signed by the chair and the treasurer, so
Yeah.
if I have it wrong, I'm willing to redo it.
And as treasurer,
I know, I keep looking, I'm gonna carry this around.
Oh, I looked right at it.
you want to take on doing some, we have to be very careful. Our investment options are very limited. When you're dealing with public money, you're basically CDs. There are some other investments, but I think as you stated, our best choice at this point is a CD. And you want to look into that?
Yeah, I could
Okay.
look into that, yeah. What is our bank? Who is our bank?
PNC. Yeah, I'll get you our contact too.
Okay.
And it doesn't,
Start there.
the money doesn't have to be necessarily in a CD with PNC either.
Right.
We have pretty good luck and nothing, I don't know what PNC has, but I know we use Michigan Schools and Governmental Credit Union, and they have some pretty good CD rates.
And we do have one, or I don't know if you all noticed that, and maybe I didn't.
Yeah,
point
the
it
one
out.
CD that's coming due, right?
May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll want to reinvest that.
That
Me.
one will automatically roll over if we do nothing.
Oh,
It would stay at People Driven.
the same type of CD?
The same type, but whatever the current rate is on that type of CD, like it went from very low paying.
What's
to-
the term?
Jumped up. Annual.
Oh, it's yearly, okay. Because right now, some of the shorter ones are giving you better rates
Yeah.
than the longer ones, actually.
It'll just be nice to make some interest.
Okay. So you also covered the signature cards in that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on. Interest for residents, accusations, and resignation letter. Want to go through that, or just
So-
let it be known that it's out there?
I think that's the most important thing, because there were a lot of accusations that have been made. Again, I'll use the word noise, because there's been a lot of noise that has been happening, different agendas or what have you, that we thank Cindy Knight for her time here as treasurer. But some of the things that were stated about this department were maybe not completed. The statement was not completed, or things were just dropped out there.
Well, they were based on her
Observations. So we took, we answered the questions, we added documentation to the back of it. It's probably 50 pages long because of the documentation, because it is important to us. We work on a daily basis for many, many years to make this department as good as it can be for the residents that we serve. We understand that there are different thought processes out there, but the answers will be on our website. I hate that someone who maybe isn't paying attention, and the average person probably doesn't pay attention to what's happening at Parks and Recreation all the time. But if they hear something like this, what's to refute it? You know, or they
Right.
might just walk away thinking, oh my gosh, that happens, they did that, you know, and that can happen anywhere. But look at the facts. I think that's our main thing is, if you have questions, anybody, any resident, please call us. We will have millage information on our website. We will have information, just general information on our website. We will have these questions answered. We had questions from the Bruce Township last night with the budget. They were sent, those are answered. Those will be on there. I just think it's public information that should be out there, and people should make their own decisions with the facts that we have. So that is all I need to say about that.
Okay.
Is this something that we need to, like, formally accept, that we receive this? And I don't know, I'm asking.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's just, it's informational. For full disclosure purposes, felt that it was important that observations be fully looked at and show the public that, you know, this is what we have to work with and this is what happened.
Yeah.
You know,
I do, on this subject too, and this might be for Dan more, you know, in my employment agreement that I haven't signed yet, there are lots of stipulations. You know, I wonder, like, not that any of you are going to leave or anybody in the future, but maybe should there be something signed by commissioners that you'll turn over the work that has been done, that, you know, that you don't just walk away, like if you are upset, because there are things that we don't know right now that, you know, Cindy had been working on, and the same for you, or, you know, that.
I mean,
She doesn't have any resources of the Parks and Recreation.
Well, the resource is knowledge, and it's emails, and it's, you know, I guess it would be this folder, whatever you're gonna find out from the bank that you would put in there. I don't know, it's just a thought that,
Your notes or anything?
no, yeah, just to hand
I
your,
would
the
think
keys
that,
back, you know?
I guess
Don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I
These are all wonderful people.
I think that the meeting minutes provide
True. That's
most
true.
of the documentation legally required. I think, again, unless the person has a computer or something supplied by Parks and Rec, you know.
Not
but,
my folder.
yeah, when it comes, you know, I mean, I don't know.
I get it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if,
I mean, what you might consider at some point, it was very surprising of me to come to the first meeting and hear all the discussion about the other alternate and behavior and all of this. You might consider a code of conduct.
yeah, maybe that's what, or, I don't know, I hate, and then again, everybody can have their own opinion, and
Well, it was suggested, I believe, at the Washington Township meeting about a code of ethics. That's all well and good.
It's just something
But-
to refer to. I've been on boards
Right.
that we've passed code of ethics and a code of conduct.
Yeah.
And then you get to tell somebody if they're out of line.
well, that could have came in handy in several situations.
So, I mean, that's certainly something that we can look into. It's a good idea to put some, hang on a second, Mary. I can't finish my thought here. I think it's a good idea to put dates on when we're going to follow up with these things, so they don't get lost in the shuffle. So I can look into a code of conduct policy. I've got,
I'd be happy.
you have some, okay, good, good. I probably have some left over from my previous employment. All right, FOIA, oh,
Give me a date. Would you like something submitted for the next board meeting for your consideration?
that would be good.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Got that? All right. FOIA policy.
I put this on here, I did include a copy of basically what I stole from Washington and Bruce. We, really, from anybody, it seems like in Michigan, a lot of people use the exact same one with the exception of how much it costs per hour, because you use your lowest paid employee. So I did create this because we did have, excuse me, a couple of FOIAs that just came through. So we did, we told them that we received them. We looked at approximate how much time we thought it was going to take. We told them the goodwill, good faith deposit. So now we're just waiting. If they're going to send the checks in, then we'll fulfill those. One of the questions that came up right now, myself and Berna have been the FOIA coordinators. We haven't in the past received a lot of them, or a lot of them that are in depth. It's a little less in depth, but it seems like I put this here so that you could look at it, and if you had any questions or you wanted us to change anything, otherwise this would be the policy that we have on our website and that we're using. It's more of an informational, to let you know where we're at. And I think approval-wise,
We
the
need to-
township's
we
going to
need
use it.
We need to approve that policy.
Approve it.
I have one question for Dan. Since we're a new entity and somebody FOIAs something from the previous entity, what's our obligation?
I think I believe the commission is a successor of the prior entity, of their assets and responsibilities. I thought there was a transfer of assets. Well, I guess I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
With respect to FOIA, though, I mean, on that point, it should be, the commission should adopt the policy. It should set forth what I don't have the policy that you have as far as what you proposed for the reimbursable expense. It does, the act is pretty specific with respect to the hourly rate that can be charged.
Right.
And that should be something that the commission ultimately, once you're satisfied with the document, formally approves. As to your question specifically, I can get back to you.
Okay. Because I know one of the FOIAs is for some particularly old information, that, what goes back to what, 15?
2015, 16.
And,
Well, okay, so, but is it information of the Parks and Recreation Commission that is still maintained by?
well, yeah, that's the other thing. If you have,
Then it's a public record.
if you have it,
That's right.
you got to give it.
Then it's a public record.
Right, okay.
Now, there should be a record retention schedule that's adopted as to how long you keep those public records. And that's something that we can go over.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I've been looking for one of those.
Usually, like, it's on the state's website, records retention.
But we have to actually adopt one. It's, when I first got into this job, I was looking for it, and there are things that say that we do have to specifically, because there's different things out there, so we have to pick one and decide that that's going to be for us and adopt it.
Sounds like work for you.
I can get
Yeah, that would be good. So before, it sounds like it would be premature to adopt that policy before he looks at it?
The FOIA policy?
I can get the packet until very, very late.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
I'd like to have a chance to go through that.
Absolutely. For sure. In the meantime, we are in the middle of 2 of those FOIAs because we had to, because they came in. So we had, I reached out to both of them, told them that we received them, looked at the FOIA policies. Well, we have been using the Washington Township and Bruce Township in the past, but we've just never charged anything because it wasn't hours and hours worth of work. It was more like me reaching through the minutes. In 15 minutes, I had what I needed and sent it forward. So these are the first 2 that are going to be hours of work. So the only thing that I had changed, and honestly, I think I used Washington Townships, but Bruce's was exactly the same, was our lowest paid accountants, part-time. Oh, yours, okay.
Well, it's me until.
It's burn on until April, so, but yeah. We have not received the good faith check yet for either of them, so.
Well, since we haven't really adopted a FOIA policy,
Would there be no charge?
would there be an issue? I mean, FOIAs can't wait until our next meeting, so,
Through the chair, it sounds like she's been utilizing the existing
Right.
Washington
Yeah,
Township.
it's been on
So
our,
you're-
yeah.
We can do that until such time
Okay.
as the commission adopts its
Okay.
own, if there's any changes at all. It sounds like you took, is it the Washington Township?
I did, and
So,
probably okay.
I think it's probably gonna be okay, and I
Yeah.
doubt that I'm gonna have any suggested edits to it, but I might.
right. And it's actually compared, Bruce and Washington
Yeah,
use the
that's-
exact same
yeah,
one.
I know ours is good.
So,
Okay.
so then, okay. So I guess, sorry, in the meantime, I would move forward with the FOIAs if we received it. I'll call you if that happens.
Village wording.
So, the question came up, who writes the wording to the millage? So we put that on, this is to you too. We're just not sure I know that the townships are the they are the ones who actually put the millage out there and have always historically done that. I'm not sure.
Do we have to request it?
Do we request it? Yeah,
Do we have to write it?
Well,
Separate entity now.
I think you can propose it. I think that may be something that you are going to be talking with
Board.
the assessors for both communities, perhaps, on that language. Again, I haven't had a chance to go through that, the specific question that you included in the packet of materials. When would, have you identified a time period of when you're proposing?
well, our next millage is August 6th. Excuse me, our next 4-year renewal.
But that has to be in, I think,
It's
in May.
11 weeks before, I mean,
Yeah. Honestly, the townships have always written and put it in. Our department has not. So,
So if you contact the clerk's
or
office
commission,
for both,
for both.
they would be the ones that would,
they historically have provided that accommodation to you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it'd be important to review it, but maybe they're still prepared to provide that accommodation for you.
Right.
Otherwise, we can, or I can help you draft that language.
Okay.
because they have to send it to the county.
It's got to get it.
So-
Yes.
And the funds go through the townships
Right.
to the commission. So,
This is the language from us.
yes.
So to follow up,
I'm just looking at the interlocal agreement. I mean, there is a statement in the interlocal agreement that says the Washington Township and Bruce Township agreed to each submit identical millage proposals, including millage rates, to their respective electors during the term of this agreement.
okay. So maybe we just need to remind them of that
And make sure that.
and make sure that they're identical. Because I believe last time they weren't.
They're not.
Okay. So we got that. Washington Park project bid discussion. We've kind of touched on this a little bit throughout the night. I did include, honestly, we found out that we really
Need to rebid.
need to rebid if we're going to.
Now, the one that,
For pickleball?
for pickleball, we can move forward with that.
Well, that was already approved to do the pickleball one out of,
Right.
okay.
We approved that at one of the meetings.
So, okay,
So we just need to get it underway.
okay.
And
And that was just under, I don't have the exact amount in front of me, but it was like I do in the budget, but under $200,000.
Yes.
The pickleball.
Yeah.
And those, just in case you weren't aware, those are going to go behind the
Behind
tennis
her
courts
house.
at the Washington Township Park. So currently, right now, the tennis courts share the pickleball courts, or pickleball shares tennis, whichever way you play. So then we'll be building 4 that will be up all of the time. There's a 3-inch difference in pickleball and tennis net, and then the size of the courts are a lot smaller. I don't know if anybody has done any pickleballing, or tennis, both fun. But this will allow them to continuously play tennis to stay, and then we can also still use the pickleball courts if needed on the tennis courts too, so.
And the pickleball is close to neighborhoods?
I'm sorry, what's that?
It's, the pickleball courts are close to.
They are, it would be at the Washington Township Park. They'll be right next to the tennis court, the existing tennis courts and portable, I guess.
Probably about, what, 300 feet from?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, they're surrounded. It's at 26.5 Mile Road on Van Dyke
I mean, there are,
on the south.
people have found noise issues with it.
Oh,
I hear it from my house.
can you?
It's okay,
There-
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
so,
regulated.
well, one of the things that we have discussed in the past too is shade, which when we had issues with our basketball court, because we've had the sound issues of the bouncing of the ball, we put up a row of arborvitaes to kind of, well, at first we put the screen up and then the arborvitaes. And so natural to try to deflect. So maybe we look at,
So what do you need to do to get the ball rolling?
I guess I just really need to reach out to the company and that we picked and
Okay.
go with that and get a purchase, have the discussion, and I'll probably come back at our special meeting and let you know where we're at with that and just keep you updated and move forward. Because that pickleball was part of the big bid too, though.
But it was
Separated,
It was
so-
separated, yeah.
Okay,
So you'll be coming back for like construction approval?
yes.
So are we going to nail down that special meeting?
I know. So, if we,
It's going to be before the 18th, right?
yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, if we go till April 5th for the deadline for the
Bid
bids to
submission.
come in, anytime from the 8th through the 12th, or, Monday through Friday that following week. If we wanted to stick to Thursday, that would be the 11th. Which we could do the special meeting here maybe? Or at the,
I have to
I mean,
check-
I would have to go
I could check the book.
Okay. If we did that here, our next full regular meeting would be on April 18th at the Washington Township Hall.
If you wanted to make it the 11th, Washington has their planning meetings.
They do, okay. So then we either move to a different location or we could have a special meeting at the
Give
community
me
center.
2 minutes, I can go check the book.
Yeah, we could do that.
We'll do that, because it'd be nice to get this.
Yeah, get these things, yeah, so that we can get going. Well, while that's happening, I could hand out.
It's the sound.
Is this better than
It doesn't matter.
for your meetings?
I've never played, so I don't know the
Yeah.
sound.
All words on the board.
Thank you.
And she knows.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. All good, no problem.
I know this is a lot of information coming at everybody. And
I owned it,
I feel like
100% owned
it'll
We'll get used
sort.
to it.
Yeah.
it. It's like 50-some pages.
I want to tell you right now, I appreciate your volunteer time. And it's very nice to have the support.
When you do the special meetings, you do them in the evening still, I assume, correct?
It works for
Generally,
everybody.
yeah.
The best.
Claire, could I have one of your copies of the?
Oh, absolutely.
And then, is that on the website?
It is on the website.
Okay.
Anyone have
I'll take a copy as well,
Hey, we're in
if
the
you don't
book.
mind. Thank you.
And who was your consultant?
Thanks.
Ms. McKenna.
Yeah, good old McKenna.
Yeah, they, you know, had a little bit of a.
Yeah.
Okay, so the special meeting then will be April 11th at 6 PM here.
All right.
And the agenda for that's going to have the bid proposals
It will have the
Four.
bid. Yeah, sorry. go
Um,
ahead.
and for the mowing.
Not the tree.
Right, not that, you got too much, that's not enough time, you need,
The employment agreement
yes.
and
Might as well put the FOIA policy on there.
oh yeah,
And and how about, you're not going to have time to get for the pavilion, are you?
for the pickleball.
Oh, for the pavilion,
The rebid.
the rebid.
Oh, so
Would that go through?
through the engineering
Yeah.
company again? Well, I would think we would want to.
Involve
maybe-
them.
Should I see if Mike
Yes.
Kozak could come to
Yes.
this next meeting?
That would be,
Okay.
that would be good.
Mike Kozak is the engineering company that helped put this bid together. So I think he might be able to
Yes,
guide us.
yes.
Okay, so I will invite him. And then to pick a date for the bank. Could you, but for the bank, everybody does not need to be there at the same time?
But
it's
on the same day.
Same day. So would we want to do that day
That same week?
before? I don't know, whatever, well,
Runs too much time, 'cause the bank closes, she's got.
oh, you gotta have, okay. Well, that makes sense. So I'm not picky because I don't have to go sign anything.
Do I need to go sign? Oh.
All
Yes.
new cards.
So that week, does everybody have,
It's
Well-
the week of the 8th you're looking at?
She is
The first week of
gone.
April, Michelle is available.
So
So that's the
anytime.
I thought you
First through
said
the
isn't
fifth.
available.
No, she's gone next
Next
week.
week.
Oh, next week, oh, okay.
Where's the bank located?
32 in Van Dyke?
32.
Okay.
So the beginning part of the first week of April, Monday and Tuesday, okay? So that would be the first and the second.
First is
Or-
a holiday.
Oh, yes, that's true. And then the following week, I could do,
Easter Monday.
Are banks closed on Easter Monday?
I don't know, we are.
that's all that matters.
That's
right?
all that matters to me. I don't know if they are or not. I don't know how we got it either, but I'm
You
not
don't think they are?
questioning it.
All right.
No, they're not. They're not.
I could do Tuesday the 9th
I have no life.
Are you kidding? This is
All
perfect
right.
life.
Pretty available.
You were busier than anybody. So does that?
That work, 9th work for everybody?
Tuesday's work for me.
You-
I'm going to the bank.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
You don't, I'll
They are now. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But,
Not paying attention because I was assuming I was not.
'Cause-
but that's a commission decision too, what you're gonna do. Who, I mean, there was one thing Cindy did bring up, does everyone have to be a signer?
Well,
But we do need alternate signers if,
right, and I mean, it would be nice to just have So we didn't have to go again if somebody decides that this isn't for them.
That's up to you guys.
So aim for Tuesday, the 9th?
Yeah. Does that work for everybody? And obviously, it would be during normal business hours.
Yeah, I'm kind of work.
Okay. Well,
I don't mind being left out. I mean, you've got,
Yeah.
right. We just need to reach out to Pam.
if you wanted to schedule on my behalf, it would be, I work at home sometimes on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Fridays. Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. But I'm okay if you want to go ahead. I'm also happy to be part of it.
Well, why don't we shoot for the Tuesday?
Okay.
And then if we need to add you, we'll do that when we need to.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
We good now? Okay.
Yeah, we have a special-
Community comments. I know y'all been waiting for something. I know you just didn't sit here to listen to us.
Oh, I enjoyed this.
It was nice.
And I thought I didn't have a life. No. Sorry. Did you want to make
Now
a
you're going to
comment?
get up and say something, Mario.
Mary? Yup.
The only comment I had was about the ethics committee. That was brought up at one of those horrendous meetings down there.
Yes.
And they said it was not, there would be no referral to the ethics committee from down there, Washington Township, because this was in regard to a commission member.
Right.
Parks and Rec, and you are a separate entity. So you're right about the code of conduct or whatever. But how does that figure in with the intergovernmental agreement? Can you have one?
You can, through the chair, you can have one, but the issue of removal still has to go to.
No, that part, but I mean, do you have to have it approved by the township to have a code of conduct?
No.
No, okay.
They didn't approve our other policies.
It's a policy.
Okay.
So, if there's no community comments, commission comments. Got any? Got any?
No.
Got any? Got any?
Welcome to Michelle and Ken.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you very much. I don't really have anything to add, so need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Wait, honestly.